This is Worldwide Flava Network. Worldwide.
The views, information, or opinions expressed on the broadcast of Worldwide Flavor Network are solely those of the individuals involved and does not represent those of Worldwide Flavor Network and Live365.com. Worldwide Flavor Network is not responsible and does not verify for accuracy of the information contained on any live or recorded broadcast available for listening on the site. Tune in with Diva Talk, Real Talk with Diva May every Sunday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Worldwide Flavor Network. Please share. See you next Sunday.
This show is being sponsored by Worldwide Flavor Network. If you are looking to have your own radio show, come and join us here on WWFN Online Radio. Contact us via our website, www.worldwideflavornetwork.com. It's your girl, A. Michelle. Join us on Sundays from 10 until 12 noon for the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show on Worldwide Flavor Network.
Always make a way. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Praise are the greatest. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Calvary praise. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Each and every day. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. It's time to wake up now. The sun's shining bright. The darkest times in my life, I can see the light. When I'm feeling weak, His strength makes me strong. Whatever makes me happy makes me feel complete. Feeling so much better. It's time to come together. When I hear this sound, first thing I do in the morning. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Wake me up this morning. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Help me start my day. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. New heights I'm gaining. Thank you, Lord. 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 Praise are the greatest. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Calvary praise. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Each and every day. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. It's your girl, Miss Lady. Every day I have to thank the Lord for everything that you've done for me. Made a way out of no way. That's how I know He's there for me. From sun up to sun down, I know He'll always be around. Watching over me, giving me a clear view so I can see. That is why I can say thank you, Lord, each and every day. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Wake me up this morning. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Help me start my day. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. New heights I'm gaining. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Always make a way. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Praise are the greatest. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Calvary praise. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Each and every day. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. No one can come in between this happiness I have. Through all the pain and sorrow, I still see tomorrow. If your heart is heavy, He'll give you strength to go on. Nothing is worrying me, cause I have the victory. Now that we're here as one, it's time to have some fun. When I hear the sound, first thing I do in the morning. Thank you, Lord. 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 Thank you, Lord.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your girl, A. Michelle, here on the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show. Oh, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We are here in the studios on the Worldwide Flavor Network, and I am just so grateful to be here this morning on this liquidy, sunshiny day, y'all. Oh my God, it has been truly, truly a blessing because the word was just right on point this morning. All about having the right team. Lord Jesus, did I need that word this morning because I'm going to go back and listen to the word again later on because I'm telling y'all that word this morning was straight for me. Having the right team. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to drop the mic right there in that spot and I'm done with that. But anyway, this has been a great and wonderful week in spite of all the things that we have had this week going on here in Baltimore. And, again, we just send our condolences out to Congressman Elijah Cummings' family and all the constituents here in Baltimore, as well as around the world that lives he has touched, because he's not just touched people here, but he has touched the lives around the world. And so many have been impacted by his life. And so we just want to thank you for your life and condolences all to not just, the family, but to the friends, because the friends, I know my best friend was good friends with him. And, my heart went out to her, and she's lost two good friends this year, him and, he was running for, county exec. Can't even think of his name right now, gosh. But they were two of her good friends that she lost this year. So my condolences to Stacy. Sis, I love you. And I'm just grateful to have even been a part of both of those gentlemen's lives, to have at least met them and have been able to talk with them at some point in time during my journey in life. And so I am just glad to be here in the studios this morning. And you guys just don't know, I met this young lady and I was just like, yes, we had the same spirit. It was just like it flowed. Like when we met, it was almost like we knew each other for years. Like it was how some people, you kind of got to feel them out. It wasn't none of that with us. It was just straight. Like you wouldn't have known we ain't know each other. Like if you would have walked up on us, you would have said, oh, them two been friends for years. And we really wasn't. But I can only say, I know that was God, because he connected us for whatever reason. His purpose and plan for us is he has it, and I'm all about it, because I'm just grateful to know Deborah Franklin. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm grateful to know this woman, because when I tell you she has been truly a blessing to me, I don't talk to her every day, but she don't realize the stuff she posts, the things she say. It has been a blessing to me, and I'm grateful for it, because you just never know where people are, because people always look at us as the strong friends sometimes, and strong friends sometimes need some little pat on the back too. We the strong friends, but we need that little pat on the back sometimes too. And I want to say it. I didn't always probably even think that way, didn't even come across me that way. But as life has begun to matriculate in my world, I've been able to matriculate through the world in my life. I am glad that I've come across people like her to, sometimes just post the right thing right at the right, so timely. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to meet and know Deborah Franklin, because she everything. That's all I can tell y'all. She just, the spirit that she carries is not just the professionalism in what we do in media, because I met her through a media situation that then connected us straight from the media into our spirituality, that we was connected. And to see how much we are so much alike, people don't even know it and realize it. They don't understand our extrovert side of us is just what we do here. Let's be real clear. This is what we do in media, is our extrovert side. The other side of us is straight introverted, and you'll just be like, oh my gosh, they are just like two different people. And we're not two different people. It's just how God has designed each and every one of us. So I'm glad, and I'm grateful and humbly grateful that she was able to fit me in her schedule and come and be on the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show on the Worldwide Flavor Network. Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good
I'm
morning.
so glad you are here this morning. I'm so glad you're here. I am just so elated that we've had this opportunity to share, because I want people to know on my platform who Deborah Franklin is. Yeah, we do have some mutual friends on Facebook and all that good stuff, but there's so many other people who don't even know who you are. And the fact that she got multiple books, y'all. I put one book up on the thing, but she got multiple books. And therefore, they could be a blessing to you in those who are connected to you, because sometimes you're not listening to stuff always for yourself. Most of the time, God has you listening to something for somebody else, for you to be a blessing to somebody else. Though people always think that it's always about them. And granted, sometimes it can be about us, but therefore, most of the time, God has us in a place that he wants us to be a blessing to somebody else and what we do as it relates to how he moves us in life. So I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I'm just so excited about what God is doing in you. I just want you to tell a little bit about who Deborah Franklin is.
Oh wow, who Deborah Franklin is. Okay, I'm gonna give my favorite spiel, the one that I like to use all the time. Hello, everybody. I am Deborah Franklin. I am America's #1 purpose and destiny igniter, because I feel like everything that is within you is laying dormant, and you just need somebody to push you to that next level. I am an author. I am a media coach. I'm also a host of my own show called Conversations with Deborah Franklin.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Y'all, it is raining so hard outside. I was like, Lord, could I just call in? Can I just beam in?
Who
today?
you telling? Like, I'm sitting there in church, like, I can't call in. I'm like, who I'm gonna call in to?
Oh my gosh, but y'all, I am so excited about being here this morning, and it was just awesome to get the invitation. It was just awesome to be able to just, when somebody calls you and asks you to come on their platform, especially women, y'all, I got to give a shout out to the women in media, because when we open the platform up to each other, because I have a heart for women in ministry, a heart for women in media, because we have to start treating each other. And I hate to say it like this, we have to start treating each other like the boys do it. Just like it's the good old boys club.
Got to be the good old girls club. I know that's right, Deborah.
They push each other on their platforms, and we don't. We have got to start opening up our platforms to each other, because I saw a post the other day and it said, who is your #1 female speaker at this time? And I was like, why are we even asking that? Why don't we already have a platform that we have already started hanging out together anyway? But it's not a secret, and it should not be. And we should start talking to each other and getting out and doing things. But because we don't know how to promote ourselves, because we get stuck in that whole rut of, the Bible say we supposed to be meek and humble. But guess what, y'all? The Bible also say that your gift will make room for you. But if nobody knows that you have a gift, then it can't make room for you.
Okay, she doing another sermon today. I like that. That's the truth word right there. Let's pass the plate.
Please,
we pass the plates around here. Let it be known we pass the plates around here, because God is, when he uses somebody to say some truthful stuff, I'm about being truthful. And as anybody know, I am all about dream pusher. I'm a dream pusher. Of what I may have been blessed with, I am one to push people into where they're going. And sometimes, Deborah, I'm gonna tell you, for me, I sometimes find myself, I think I be wanting their dream more than they be wanting for them. For them.
Right. And the crazy part, you pushing them, you they cheerleader, but it's like they sitting on the side of the line talking about,
right.
And you like, you
came to me. You telling me what you wanted.
And it's like, what the what?
Jesus.
But God had to deliver me from those people.
Yeah, God
literally had to deliver me from those people, because God started to show me that all of this time, all of this energy, all of this effort that I was sowing into somebody else, God said, you got to start sowing it into yourself, because you going broke for them. And then you look up, they ain't doing nothing. And then when they do get somewhat close to the finish line, now you in they dust. They not even calling you. And now they got an open platform because they done forgot who helped them get there.
I'm sorry. Deborah, I swear you must have been here on, what day was that I met with last week? I met with a friend of mine, and literally he didn't say those words, but you summed up what he said in a nutshell. Basically, once people got where they were, they forget about the people who helped them. And my thing is, I can't. I'm just not one of them kind of people.
Not at all.
Like, I'm always gonna give gratitude to the people who looked out. Like, when I got this, when I tell you, I had 2 guys who literally had my back, like literally was calling me. One was texting me every day. Are you good? You need this. And I'm trying to wing this on my own. And I'm like, God, you gonna have to do it. And he did it. And he put them in place to help me with my media stuff, to help me with the things that I needed on the back end. And I'm grateful. And I can never forget for people. Like I'm giving you props now for just, you don't even understand how the things you were saying and posting, that was just inspiration.
Wow.
Because they were moments that you don't even speak of. People don't even speak of them because sometimes they're not a moment to speak about. But God will send you what you need in that moment. And that's what, those were the moments that you were doing that. Like, it wasn't like I was talking to you every day and you were pouring into me every day. These were moments that literally you would post something and it would just be so timely. It was almost like you and Kim, Pastor Kim down in Georgia, Kim Jones Polymer, whatever.
Wow.
It was like both of y'all, it was almost like y'all were my best friends here like y'all were talking to me every day.
Wow.
And knew what was going on and would just post something to help encourage me. Neither one of y'all knew what was going on. And y'all would post stuff so timely at the time I was needing something to strengthen me. Because yes, I don't have no problem with it. I constantly pour out. But there were times that even when I was talking to them, it was ministering to me, but I still needed some more. And that's when you would drop something, or she would drop something. And it would just be like, and this inspirational inspirational message thing that I get every day, they would drop something. And I was like, wow, thank you, Lord. And it was just the strength that it was given in moments that, because I was having the moments, you're dealing with your grandmother transit, in hospice, you're dealing with your brother-in-law being killed, you're dealing with your girlfriend daughter dying, you're dealing with all these will happen like literally between June and September. It was like, okay, God, May and September, you just was like you had me doing flippity flop.
Wow.
And you just had me and doing all this. Everything was transitioning the business. A couple weeks later, my girlfriend daughter dies unexpectedly. A week later, we put grandma in hospice. A week and a half later, my brother-in-law get killed. Another week, my aunt's ex-boyfriend gets killed. Like, it was just like, when I say the flips were just happening, he was just transitioning and putting things, and you just don't understand the things you were posting, the things Kim was posting, things they were just being a blessing. Because even though you are trying to reach out and you're still trying to minister, you're still trying to do the things that you're doing, there are moments that you just need some extra.
Yeah.
You need some extra. And the extra was when you came in.
Wow.
And I thank you. You know what I'm saying? That's the other extras when Kim came in. The other extras when other things came in. They were the blessings that helped strengthen and kept pushing. Though I was asking the Lord for the strength and the help, he was sending you guys to keep pushing.
And that is amazing. That is something that, as people that post, because sometimes we just doing what God tell us to do.
Right.
Because I tell anybody, a lot of the things that I have been doing over the course of this last, 10, 15 days is outside of my comfort zone. Because that's just not who I am. Because, for me to even put a series together, that ain't me.
Okay.
I don't even know. I was like, okay, God, for real? This what we doing? I said, okay. But sometimes we have to be obedient in what God tells us to do, because just like you said, you don't know who you helping, because what you going through seems like a test to you, but it's a testimony to somebody else, because you're telling them what you're going through. You might not give them all of the specifics, but you got to do what God tells you to do.
Thanks.
Because as old folks used to say, obedience is better than sacrifice.
Jesus, girl, every time I think about that statement, sometimes Deborah, that statement sometimes can really get up under your skin.
A lot of times they were standing there with the belt in their hand talking about you.
Right. That thing came with a lot of controversy, because it came with some good and some bad. And you be like, wait a minute, Lord, really? Obedience better than sacrifice. Like you trying to put the whole concept together.
Exactly. Like, wow. But
I ain't seeing that, Lord. I ain't seeing that. Like, I ain't seeing that. Oh, Lord, I thank you. But you were so right about how we have to cheer each other on. And I that's what I'm about for this platform. I'm about building people, pushing people dreams. If I know about your book before your release, I'm trying to get you on before, because only thing I'm trying to do is push people to come out. Just like the Steph that I had on Thursday, my guest on the Hot Topic show. She was on here Thursday. She was having her CD release on yesterday. Between Thursday and yesterday, I was pushing as if she would, like I was managing her, only because I feel like we have to push our, not just women, but we got to push our own markets and our independent artists. We have to push our independent people here in Baltimore who are doing great things.
But that's Bible. That's Bible. Because so many times we take pushing and we don't look at that. Pushing is sowing. And that is sowing because I just got through teaching about this literally on yesterday. Wow. Because when I was in Atlanta, I was talking about sowing and reaping, because sometimes what you sow, you're going to reap in a different way. And then your sowing is not always monetary. Sometimes your sewing is just like what you're doing. You're putting them on a platform to open up the audience. So that way, when they say what they do have to say, or they do play the CD, it's up to the audience to go sow and buy their CD or buy their book, buy or do whatever. Sow into their ministry, because you never know that $5 that you sow, and I'm real serious. That $5 through that whatever they're doing. You don't know how that $5 is going to come back to you.
Girl, say
because you don't know, just because out of your obedience, you might have had a bill due, or you might have had to go get that checkup, and you don't know that the $5 is really what activated God to turn that situation around. You don't know what is your activator.
Say it.
And so that's what we have to look at, and stop saying, and stop getting so closed-minded and so closed-hearted to people. Because I think that's really what it is.
Is that what it is? Because I'm still trying to figure out why we're so.
And then we're like that. Ugh. We are really now personifying that whole crab in the bucket mentality too. It's like, I see you trying to go up. I see you trying to go up. Or you perceive somebody to be something that they are really not, because they know how to look. How can I say this? They know how to look good through their storm. Because just because you don't see me weeping and wailing doesn't mean that I ain't struggling. Because God didn't build me like that. And honestly, women, ladies, and I'm sorry, I have a heart for women. We have to stop wearing our struggles on our shoulder. And like old folks say, pull out that Vaseline, put that on your feet and your hands, and you just look like you got a manicure and a pedicure. Because sometimes you can't afford to go get that done. And then you got to learn how to do some things for yourself. Y'all, it's okay to have that drawer of hair, because I used to have it till I cut it off. I had buns in the drawer, buns and ponytails, baby. I could press it down and nobody knew the difference. And I'm sitting here with a hairdresser. But, sometimes you got to figure out what fits in your budget to make it work. What? And I'll never forget when I was looking, baby, had to get hair weaved. Somebody sent a flyer that said, $100 weave. I said, Jesus, whoever this is, I hope they good, because this is all I can afford. And from then on, this is my hairdresser and the person that does my makeup, because she was starting her business over. She was stepping out on faith to start her business, to build her clientele. And you see how things work. You don't know, again, who you sewing into and who's going to be on your team.
On your team. Girl, I'm telling you, Deborah, that word this morning, I said, Lord, Bishop, girl, I was just like, I wanted to just go lay on the altar. When I say I just want to lay,
when you said it, I like to ran out of here,
girl,
because God was just dealing with me with that this morning,
girl. Because
I was like, God, you got me doing this, you got me in this situation, but I need a team. But it seemed like everybody that I keep getting on the team is not really on the team,
and you got to be on the team. He said you got to be on the team. So if you on the team and you asking him for the team members, then you got to discern who is belong on the team. Because you should be, if you on in tune to the team, them other ones they got to go. So therefore, the ones that ain't supposed to be there, that's why they ain't supposed to be there.
And it is. And then God said, you know what? Because you keep saying when you gonna say it's our? And I said, okay, God, I shut my mouth. Wow. And I'm gonna let you run this thing.
Wow.
And I'm not finna trip. So whomever.
Now you done took that sermon to a whole nother level, making that statement right there.
Yeah. So whomever,
You know,
because we keep saying my team, my team, my team, but when is it gonna be God's team? Especially when we
team that you put
proclaiming-
together. I need him to put the team together. And that's
Yep.
where, when I walked out of church, that was my thought, Deborah. I need you to put the team together. I need you to put the team together.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I'm open. I'm open because he put me in a place to start thinking about some things so beyond. But you got to have people who got to be thinking the same.
Yep.
Not saying the exact same pattern, but at least thinking
but they got to be able to come to the board meeting.
Right.
And we having a real meeting. Not, you got to bring something to the table, because that's just like when you sit down to eat. You want a vegetable. Well, you're supposed to have that vegetable, the starch, and your meat. And old school, you got to have that dessert on the side.
Right.
Not dessert, but that dessert. And so it's okay that everybody don't bring the equal thing. But think about, if you got, that's just like pieces to a puzzle. At some point, they all gonna fit.
And everything gonna work together for the good of the business.
Right. And the picture
or the project or whatever you're working on.
Whatever it is. The picture is gonna be perfect when it fits together. Because everybody got something that they can
pieces,
do.
And that's why let me tell you, people don't realize that they're gonna song like Let Us See sings Pieces of Me. Yes. But I see it on that song went many directions with me.
Yeah.
Not just in the fact of talking about pieces of me inside of me, but pieces of the business, pieces of how you put the pieces together. And that's where today I said God knew that word right there. After the meeting I had with the gentleman friend of mine this week and his partner, I said, Lord, you come back this week on the preach word talking about partnership, and see, today leadership day, so I could see where he went with that, with the whole leadership piece, because today is leadership Sunday at my church. And so to be leadership Sunday and to put in that word put in their partnership, the victory is in the partnership.
It is. Because, and then you can't be afraid to partner with people that are different,
especially if you've been hurt through partnership.
And
because when you've been hurt through partnership, and I've been hurt through partnership, not once, not once, but twice, majorly hurt.
Yes,
but
indeed.
I cannot let that keep me from where God, because then I believe I would be blocking the blessings of others that God has me to be able to be connected with through these airways if I block what God is doing. If I had that kind of mentality, I thank God that he's put me in a place that I'm still open. Because, people shut down when, and I know, because I'm still trying to work on a friend of mine who, they went through a bad partnership and they are so salty and so bittered.
Right.
That they don't want nobody to ever help them with anything. It's like you got to almost pull it out them to make them, let me help you with this.
Right.
And they still don't want to do it.
Right. But you know what that comes from too? And that's just like with church hurt. And that's just like with business hurt. That's like with family hurt. You have to start praying through that thing.
Right.
And then you have to be intentional about what you're praying for. Right. It's just like when you say you're being intentional about a relationship, who you want, what you want. Start thinking about the criteria of what you want in somebody that is a partner. If you need somebody that can cheer you on, if you need somebody that can support you, then you need to start praying for that. If you need somebody that can be, if nothing else, hey, can you read this for me? Hey, can you check this for me? Make sure that that's what you're praying for, because a lot of times we don't get what we're praying. We get what we pray for. Because all you asked for was a partner. You didn't ask for the.
You weren't specific. You weren't specific, and that's why Habakkuk say, "Write it plain. What you're looking for, what you need."
And then take it one more step further. Come on, you got to go to 3, because it says, "Tell the herald so the heralds can run with it."
Right.
Because if you don't tell nobody, all you did was wrote something.
You just wrote something.
And you sit up there thinking that it's a secret. It ain't no secret. Oprah lied to y'all. I'm sorry. Right. I hate to bust your bubble. You wouldn't spend all that money for the secret, and it's in the Bible. Because the laws of attraction is nothing but Habakkuk 2:2. Habakkuk 2 and 2 through 3.
Yes.
Write the vision, make it plain, then tell somebody, and then they gonna run with it, because at the end of the day, they're gonna hold you accountable.
But you got to be making sure when you get the person who you're supposed to run with it, you got to make sure you have discerned that God has given you the right person to run with it. Because people today will take your idea and make it their idea, and that wasn't God's plan.
But we cannot let that be fear.
You can't let that fear you.
Because
absolutely.
You know what? That's why a lot of people don't share. And we cannot
That's
We
why I said you
cannot
got to
get caught.
discern.
You
They got to
got to have
discern who the right
discernment.
person.
And then I look at it, and then I take it a step further. If they run with it, then then that means maybe that meant God wanted me to tell them so
Mm.
they could go with it. Now I can see how they messed it up. And now I can fix it and come back with it. You're gonna be salty, you're gonna be hurt, but you can't let those things set you back from where you are going. Because a
Mhm.
lot of times we get because when you're an introvert,
Hmm.
you don't care about people. Honestly, you could be in a room full of people and still feel like you by yourself. And so we have to force ourselves. It's harder for somebody that is an introvert with extrovert tendencies because they think that you like this all the time. You think that
Yep.
I'm going to kiki and caca all the time, which I can because I'm going to laugh at stuff that's funny. But for the most part, I do know how to revert back into something. And then you like, where's she at?
What's
And
wrong
I
with
could
her?
be in the room.
Right.
I've had people walk right by me and not realize I was in the room because I done went into myself. And so sometimes we have to force ourselves to come out of ourselves and not let what put us in that space keep us in that space.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we have to start looking at.
Absolutely. And true. And you're right. We can't let that fear of what somebody else takes and run with it. But my thing is, if it was God's plan for you, he's going to still
And
do what
there
he
it
has
is.
to do
There
in
it
you.
is.
And that's just the bottom line. So don't ever put yourself in a fearful place that you don't want to talk to somebody, because guess what? Talking to that one person could miss out on what your business needs, what your business needs. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. Stop always trying to think that everybody's trying out to get you. Everybody not out to get you.
Exactly.
Some people are to be a blessing to you in your business. To you and your business. Not
because
to
we
get you.
miss that.
Yeah.
We miss
Because
that.
see, I came up in the era. My first business was my own salon.
Wow.
I had my own salon first. And let me tell you, it was hard because I ain't had no partners. Didn't even know anybody that wanted to go in partnership. Wasn't even talked about. It was just like everybody wanted their own salon. Everybody, back in the day, you just wanted to have your own salon. Wasn't anybody, and whoever wanted to come work with you came and worked with you. Those kind of things. But I'm gonna tell you, the struggle was real.
Yeah.
And I tell anybody, we ain't had social media. We ain't had none of that stuff to help us push our businesses. Because social media can help you. It can. I don't want to say it can kill you. I don't want to say it always break you, but it can break you for a moment. For a moment that you can come back. That's all I'm gonna say. Where we had word of mouth. That was it. That's all we had.
That's all we had.
Your hair had to look good. When it went out there, now you got people who sit on Facebook and say, look at what my girl so-and-so did. Look at what now you got that. We didn't have that.
Right.
We had to make it work for us through you walking out the door and you just looking good and you saying, okay, and give her a card saying refer a client. And they know you going to make sure they good with the referral. That's what we had to deal with and we had to go through. And so that's why for me, I have no problem putting people on my platform because I want to push people businesses. I'm a dream pusher. I've always been that way. Always want to see people succeed. Always want to see people businesses do well. And I'm going to tell you what took my pushing to a whole nother level, Deborah, was back in February. They came out with the documentary of the Green Book. Yes. Not the movie, The Green Book, but the documentary. And that pushed me to a whole nother level of dream pushing.
Yep. Because, we started to see, even from the movie.
Yeah, the movie was good. I'm not going to take away from the movie.
With the movie.
I had a whole lot of issues with the movie. But that documentary was just so profound. But when I looked at
because I had never heard about the Green Book. And I'm from the South.
I'm
from
really?
Texas. Yeah,
really?
I'm originally from Texas. Whoop, whoop, go Stros.
Okay.
So, I'm originally from Texas. So, and then like now when I think about like some of the family trips that we took, now I understand why we did certain things. But, that's a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s. So it's like, I didn't get why we went to this rest station or we packed lunch and didn't do certain things.
Right.
But then when
that's all we did was pack lunch. We wasn't no stopping to eat no way. And my one grandfather, my grandfather and my great grandfather, them two jokers. Right. You better go to bathroom. You better not drink too much because the truck and the car didn't stop until they had to go to bathroom.
Exactly. It wasn't no joke. But it's like even then we saw how our communities supported each other regardless. You know, if they came into town, it's like you, and then it also showed how we had to stand for something.
Yes.
And even though it was may have been something small, then they did stand for it. And I said, that's why I decided to take, like you were saying, you open up your platform to different people. And I said, that's why I decided that I knew my platform had to be women in ministry, because so many women in ministry fail to succeed because we don't support each other for whatever reason. And so we don't even talk to each other about, you know, okay, you know, there are certain things that if you're a woman in ministry that we have to battle that some of the guys don't, you know, like Leandria. I'm just going to use her for an example, because she said something. She was like, you know, when I got pregnant, would nobody invite me? But yet and still, if a male does it,
he's still getting
called. He's still getting everything,
getting
because
invited.
his evidence of his sin is not outward. And so that's the part that cracks me off, because of that double standard.
Right.
And I was like, you know, we have to get over that double standard.
And still, we got these churches now that don't want to accept women in ministry for whatever reason. And we still got men who are doing, and I'm not against any of it, but when we have men in ministry doing things that's so inappropriate, and it's like they get the slap on the wrist,
right,
and keep on serving in ministry.
But women, we sat down for at least a year. And if that was your only bread and butter, you messed up for a whole year. And then we don't even invest in product, because we don't invest in ourselves. We invest in our hair, we invest in our shoes, we invest in our clothing, but we do not invest in developing product for when we do go to these different places. You preach places, you know, you can reuse that information, make a CD, make a DVD, heck, make a download. You know, it doesn't take all of that, but you know, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about how to market ourselves and have other items, because at the end of the day, you might get there, and women, you might not get what everybody else gets.
And see, that's why I'm really a big pusher, even with as a artist manager, you know, trying to get them to see. You don't get me wrong, I'm all for the streaming. I am so for technology and streaming. But what people fail to realize, people still like hard copies.
They really do.
People really still like hard copies. So therefore, I'm a firm believer of having product, having CDs, having t-shirts, branding yourself on that level, because you never know. And like I had to tell somebody, bring all your brand together. You don't just take the new book. You take all your books.
Exactly.
I said, every author I know who has multiple books, especially preachers, Bishop Brister, Bishop Morton, all of them, when they come,
baby, they got the whole book.
They got a whole. They may not have a lot of them, but you ain't got the word. There's at least 2 of everything.
Exactly.
And every one of their books on top of the main book that they're trying to sell. Because you never know what one of those books could be, either for you or for you to bless somebody else.
Exactly. And that goes back to, they got the formula, but the women don't. Because, you know, I'm not gonna say that.
No, the women don't, because I'm gonna tell you, some of the women are the reason why their formulas are working. We just not using those formulas on our platform.
I'm gonna go over here and just wave to the people watching me. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wave to the people.
That's the thing, because the women are the ones who put some of this stuff together. It's just the women aren't using it on their own platform.
And that's where
the problem. And that's where the problem is.
And you know, and that's where I got to make my sad little.
Go ahead, girl.
That's part of what I'm doing as a media coach.
Okay.
Because as a media coach, and the reason why I kept saying that I wanted to work with women in ministry is that a lot of times I'm the person that you call after you messed up. I mean, I'm just being honest. And I want women to start realizing, if you invest in yourself on the front end, then once you get out there, then you're ready to roll. Because a lot of times I've done podcasts. I know how to do podcasts, but then you go to the podcast, you don't even know how to answer questions. You don't even know that you should just, you know, it's just certain things that, or you saying, know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. Or, and then it's dead air. Y'all, this radio still. I don't care if it's still, we calling it a podcast. Yeah, right. It's still radio. Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's radio. Absolutely. You cannot have dead air.
You cannot. I'm trying to get people to understand that. Like, you have to be able to flow. even if you don't, then you need to have a co-host that can piggyback on you,
Exactly.
because you got to be able. You cannot have. That's why I tell people you cannot have dead air when your shows are flowing and things like that. And that's how we have to do. And I just want to, I'm still just trying to figure out in this day and age why people just don't want to listen. Like,
Well, that's because they
don't
think
want to
this
listen
is
to 'em.
easy.
Okay.
And those of us that have gone to school for it, and I'm just being honest, those of us that have been trained in radio and film and TV and things of that nature, and in media, they think that what we do is so easy. They think all you do is go in, sit behind the mic, push the button, and then bam, it comes out. You don't realize that a lot of things that are done are scripted, or because some people just don't know how to have a conversation with someone else. And then it's like you don't know how to keep it moving. You don't know how to just keep doing things that are going to keep the people engaged, and it's like you have to be able to find that. And so not only do you have to know how to conduct your interview, but then what do you do for promotional items?
Tell them about your media coach class that's coming up. Give that plug real quick.
Gosh,
Get that plug real quick.
We are having Morning Power of Media, y'all. You can go where we're going to come together for a couple hours on a Monday, because I knew that my audience was going to be women in ministry, women that are even in education, because it is a day off. Schools are closed. We're going to come in for a couple hours. We're going to talk about, how to market yourself, how to do simple things. Like there's simple software, because I feel like that a lot of us don't do our own marketing because we think that it's so expensive. You can't afford a publicist. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on just how to use different pieces of software like Fiverr, like Ripple, Canva. There are so many different things that we're going to talk about in that class in November the 11th. That is a Monday. And we will make the link available for you on all of our social medias. After this show is over, I'll make sure to post the link and we're on, y'all. Okay, real talk. We only charging $35. I'm being real.
And the information you're going to get, I can assure you, is well worth more than $35, because the knowledge that we give, people don't understand. The other day, somebody sent me a post, because they know I'm always a pro bono giver. So I'm always like, this pro bono, this off the, this is a free moment I'm going to give you. And the person sent me a post, said, after the first question, $150 is my consultation fee or something. They were sending that to me saying, you need to send people these little moments, because it was like, you give somebody a whole hour consultation and give them free good stuff that they can start a whole business, and they sit up here and barely want to say thank you for that. And I'm like, and I don't even look at it like that. I just feel like when I see a need, Deborah, I feel like plug it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just feel like a moment of plugging. And that's why I said we got to plug that media coach class, because people don't realize how it's going to help you. And even if you are not in the media field, but you do a lot of social media stuff. When I say you may not be a radio host like us,
right,
but you are in the know on Facebook, you may be. It would be good for you. And if you are somebody's publicist, you may be somebody else's publicist. You may not be the client. You may be somebody, you want to get clients. Therefore, you need to be able to know how to do some things, promote some things. This class would be good for you. Just to come and get some is never too much to learn.
Right. And because I'm seeing that a lot of publicists are charging people a lot of money, but they're not even really promoting you. They're not, you're paying them X amount of dollars, and they're doing things that you really could do for yourself until you get a big enough name. Because a lot of times when people don't know who you are, it's hard. It's hard, but it's not hard to get on different platforms. But when you got like a following, you can say, hey, go to YouTube, check out a couple of my shows, or here's a clip. And even if you even if you wanted to do a Facebook Live, we'll even train you on how to do a Facebook Live, because how your background should look, how your lighting should look. Those are key things, because I have seen some people and I'm like, your content was great, but I'm distracted
by all of what's going on behind you.
Yes.
I see something over here. I see this move. I saw this.
And then I get it. You got kids, but if they not part of your show, baby, don't, that's distracting. And so we're going to be talking about those things, because I've actually had people say, I want to do a Facebook Live, but I'm afraid to. I said, but if you have, but it's all about practice, and
Right.
sometimes you just have to do it. But we are going to be setting up different things, it's just a whole lot. So you just need to come out and check us out on November the 11th.
Yes.
For the morning media power session. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't help but say it. It's going to be
Yes.
phenomenal, and you're going to
Absolutely.
enjoy it, and you'll get a
Absolutely.
lot of good information.
Absolutely.
And it won't take all day.
It won't take all day. Right. You just grab it and you run with it. And she'll always be there for you to reach out to, just to, kind of get yourself like, I need some extra help, or, can you explain this later? She's just the kind of person that she is. And so I would encourage you, join in, come and go.
Thank you.
And it's, it's just the thing that we have to do. And I just feel like people want to just say anything and put anything out there, but everything ain't meant to be said. Everything is not meant to be seen. Some things, and I know we in this world, Deborah, of everybody, I'm free to say what I want to do and do what I want to say and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, did you think about what it's going to be? Because it's never gone.
And you never know.
It's never gone. You never know. It's never gone.
And the one thing that you think that won't go viral will be the main thing.
Girl,
and you'll
say
be
it
like,
again.
And so, and that goes back to authors, it goes to speakers, it goes to women in ministry, because now with this age of social media, with this age of video everywhere, people want to know what you look like. They don't, honestly, people don't care anymore if you fat, you skinny, if you dark, if you light. They don't care about all that.
None of that.
All they want to know is, who is this talking to me, or who is this that has written this book that I love so much, because they want to get to know you intimately.
Right.
So that whole facade of what media used to look like you had to be this size, you had to have this kind of hair, you couldn't do this, that's pretty much gone, because that's main media. But now that social media is almost main media, people just want you to have the good content. They want to know what you're talking about.
Right.
And they want to see you, and they want you to be clear. So, you have to get over that whole image thing.
Yeah, that whole image piece is real, and people don't understand how when they look a certain way, people come with the expectation that, okay, she was looking like this, and now, this is what she doing, and then people lose that whole piece with you, like, oh my goodness, she not looking like this. And that's why I tell people, be careful how you start off when you are before the people. If you start off being real naked, and then all of a sudden now you're not being naked on Facebook, that's going to change your audience.
Oh my God.
That's going to change your audience.
Because somebody, y'all know, I am so conservative about a whole lot of stuff. And so I had a t-shirt on, and then I didn't realize that it had kind of went down a little too far. And somebody inboxed me, I sure like that cleavage. I said, OMG. From then on, I made sure I had on t-shirts up to my neck.
Really?
Because I was like, oh my God. Because that was like saying something that I don't want to say. Because that's not who I am.
And that happened to me. My one of my male best friends, he inboxed me. I was on the air. Yep. He was like, I need you to sit back from that camera.
Right.
And I was like, and because when you looking down, it don't look bad.
It don't look right. Exactly.
But it was like, he was like, I need you to sit back from the camera, son. And I'm like, okay.
And then
and it's your best friend, so you like,
exactly.
Really, like.
And it was like, okay, from now on, I need a friend check. Y'all to check me.
Like I'm going in mirrors, I'm looking, like, because like you said, when you're in ministry, you're still doing what you do, you don't want to put the wrong persona out there. Yes, exactly. I do like to dress sexy. I like to look nice and things of that nature. But there's a time for everything. So, not saying that you two different people, you trying to be. No, it's just that you don't want to convey the wrong message when you are doing what you do.
Exactly.
And
because that's not cute.
It's not.
It's not cute. It's so not cute.
It's not.
It's so not cute
at all. But this media thing is real, and my thing is, I just want us to have good media, regardless of social media or not. Because the information that you give off and other leaders out here give off is good stuff, and it doesn't want to be lost because people get into oh my goodness, she's too long-winded, he too long-winded. You know, people get into what they're giving the purpose of what they're doing, why they're talking to you, why they're sharing with you, because you don't know how what they're sharing is can be a blessing to you.
Exactly.
You know, those kind of things. And that's what I've come to realize. People get caught up on, oh, she this or he this. They get caught up on all the wrong stuff when we need to pay attention to what the message that they're trying to combat.
Exactly.
You know, that's just the bottom line. And even with our young people, you know, what they're saying, sometimes they have some good stuff. But again, you know, I try to tell people, if you want to curse, you can curse all day. But guess what? You're going to lose me if that's all your conversation is like.
Yeah. Because, you know, sometimes the bombs make sense. But when it's every other word, come on now.
I can't. That's what I'm saying,
just,
Deborah. Like
it's
that,
like, where's your vocabulary?
Right. The young people have some good stuff sometimes, but because that's all they want to do is say the profanity in between. I'm not saying there's not moments that you would probably have them, but it can't be every other word if you're trying to get a message across.
And in my opinion, and this is from me, that is so unprofessional.
So unprofessional.
And, you know, and it's like you could get more people if you just talk. If you just if your message is solid, you don't need the profanity.
You don't.
I mean, I get it when you mad or you just really trying to make something and quote unquote one or two slip out. That's one thing. But when it's every other word, come on now. That means that you, in my opinion, that's just like somebody that break out and say hallelujah the whole time. That means you're not prepared.
Right.
Your preparation is off when all you have is profanity as your filler.
Yeah.
You are not prepared for what you're trying to do.
Right.
You know, and maybe you just need to stop talking.
Right.
At the end of the day, just
that's
stop
so
talking.
true sometimes. Absolutely. And so, you know, we just want people to have some good stuff. So check out her Facebook page. She has all the information about the social media, the media coach class, because that's going to cross a lot of barriers. So don't look at it as you just got to be a radio host. It's not like that. It's just helping people to be more effective, have better platforms, make your platforms look good. I feel like this: if your platform looks good, you get a good following.
Exactly.
You keep garbage on your platform, you're going to get just what you get. And I just feel like, you know, people need to get to a point. Yes, I believe we should share, you know, constructive criticism, but I don't think we need to tear people down. And that's where people need to get away from.
Yeah.
Deborah, I just feel
if
like
you
that.
don't agree, just say you don't agree.
But you don't have to tear
you don't
a
have
person
to break
down.
somebody's, you don't have to break anybody's spirit.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be nasty
Mhm.
because, you know, life is not about everybody being right. And it's okay to have constructive criticism. It's okay to disagree. But sometimes you got to agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
And be okay with it.
Be okay with it.
And
be
move
okay
on.
and keep it
Because
moving.
I have friends. We agree to disagree on a
Right.
whole lot of stuff and we still cool.
And that's it. Like we can table this and talk about it later. Maybe
Yep.
we'll see it. Maybe I can see something different that you
Mhm.
see. Maybe I won't. But guess what? We've already made our points clear about what that is for whatever
Exactly.
the circumstance situation may be. But it's not going to take away from what we're trying to achieve as friends doing whatever. And that's the difference with people. People today tend to get caught up in the situation and let it kill a friendship versus being caught up in the friendship and let the situation stay dormant, or you let it sit for a moment and like revisit it later. Maybe it's not
Exactly.
worth your friendship being over.
Not at all.
You know,
Not at all.
it's just
worth
not
it.
like people get really caught up, and I watch that stuff on Facebook. Like, because after a while I can't do some of the stuff that people, the foolishness that people do. But sometimes you got to read it because it makes you laugh. Sometimes,
Sometimes
you,
it is very
you need it.
comical.
Like
You
you
be
need
like-
just
Especially
want to
if
see
it's
what
somebody-
people thinking.
Yeah, especially if it's somebody you know, and you like,
You think like that? Like, that's how you really feel, huh? You know, so you need those moments, you know, as in the word today, Bishop said, you need that one on the team that's basically off the hook. You
Yup,
know, that
yup.
off the hook friend. Sometimes you
'Cause they gonna
need
tell
them.
you the truth,
They gonna be
regardless.
truthful regardless.
Now you might not like it.
You may not always
but
like,
that's the one you need.
but that's what you need sometimes in your life. And therefore, it was so true when he said that about the team, you know, having the realest person, like the person that's going to be off the hook. Sometimes you need that person. And so sometimes you got to read them off the hook posts because they can help you that in some way. People would look at it as being such a negative, but it can also be a positive in where
Exactly.
whatever you were already dealing with or thinking, you know,
Mhm.
those kind of situations. And so I'm just like,
You got to keep them kind of people. So when he said that today, I was like, okay. And I've always believed in having balance. You have, you still, you grow, you mature. You may not hang out with them friends all the time, but sometimes you need to remember you got to go hang out with them sometime just to say, okay.
That's
it. Right.
it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
And they bring you that balance of, especially like somebody like us who are introverts, I think we need them diverse type friends.
I have to.
We need them.
And then I have to be real honest with people. It's like, I know you are so more social than I am. So don't get discouraged with me. You just got to sometimes push me in that area. I'll get up and go, but sometimes I'm gonna need that extra push. And then again, it goes back to knowing who you are.
Because if it ain't business all the time, I ain't trying to go.
Yeah.
I don't get upset if I'm not invited to something.
Yeah, I've gotten over that.
Like I've never. I just don't like. I'm like. Sometimes people say, "You didn't get invited." No, and I'm sitting up here like, and I'm glad, but I didn't say it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, my other favorite one was, we thought she was already busy. But you
didn't ask. Oh my gosh, Deborah! If I hear that one more time, well, you always so busy. But did you ask?
Exactly.
I said, y'all fail to realize. Don't look at social media like that and think, oh, she's so busy. She always so. I said, y'all better watch it. Y'all don't fail. Y'all fail to realize. I go to them events. First of all, I put those pictures up there. Sometimes it could be the day before, the day after, the day after, or I could have been home, went to the event, took them pictures like I do, and go home.
And I was only there a hot minute.
I was only there for a minute. Looked like I was there all night because I done snap. Got home, and you be like, you was home. I said, oh, I've been in bed.
Pretty much. Been
in bed.
Done ripped all that makeup
off.
Right.
Been in bed. I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all thought I was. Girl, we just think you don't ever think I'm busy. If you put it on the calendar, trust and know I won't make it there. If it's something I want to be a part of, yes, I'll be there. But people think that we always so busy because of what we do, media, church stuff, this, that, personal stuff. Baby, you'd be surprised.
It's a lot of times I'm at the house.
In the house.
Just
been
like
in the house.
Chilling. And nobody even know. But sometimes I'm good with that.
I'm fine.
I'm okay. I'm really okay.
I'm not one that gotta be out in the streets all the time. Like I could stay in the house like a day like today.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't have seen me if it wasn't for church in this radio station. I could have stayed right in the house all day.
And would have been okay.
Been fine. See you Monday morning for work.
Right.
know, it's just those kind of things. And that's what we have to be okay with.
Exactly.
Being who we are and doing what we do, because people fail to realize we have those moments where we going nonstop. Like last week, she was going nonstop. She had all week long. Then she had to go to Atlanta, and then she had to cap back and go do this whole week. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when we get those moments to downtime, people don't understand.
I take a hold to it and I hold on to it. And a lot of times we're so busy, but you don't know what cray is going on with the busy. You don't know how plans have changed. Plans failed.
Right.
Let me just be honest. Plans failed. And you still got to do what you got to do. And still look like you got it together.
Right. And can show one flaw of the mess.
Exactly.
That just went on. Exploded.
Like,
didn't get
you be sitting there like, Jesus, really?
This is how it's gotta be.
But I know you got me here. And I know you got me here
fix
for
it all.
a reason. But I'm gonna need you to fix it.
Right. Fix it all.
Because right now, I'm not right.
I need me to get it together. So we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna listen to another local artist, because I'm big on pushing our local artists.
Awesome.
Our first local artist, I forgot to do her, but because I was so excited about my girl being here. But Sherelle Miss Lady, that's who did our theme opening song. And then we're gonna listen to Naomi B, who is my other girl here in Baltimore, our local artist. I'm a dream pusher, and therefore I constantly push all of our local artists here in the Baltimore area, because if we don't push them, who will? And it's a shame that we have to wait for our artists, our authors, and all of them to go somewhere else to get the love that we should be giving them right here in Baltimore.
And that's the sad part about this whole industry. But the Bible says the city doesn't know the prophet that they have. And they have to go out and
amongst the others, Girl,
because
she done
then
said another
when they
word.
come back, then you like, oh my God, we didn't know you did this. Oh, baby, I started here. I got training here.
This is
But
my
you didn't
foundation.
recognize me.
This is my foundation.
Right. But then I also look at that too. Sometimes God keeps us in the background because he wants to protect us.
Mhm.
And then he got to let us look at everybody else and see how they didn't do it right. So then when he does put us in the forefront, we're going on there and we can't say nobody did it but God.
Nobody but God.
Nobody did it but God.
Absolutely.
And we just got to do the
Absolutely.
darn thing the way
Absolutely.
we do it.
Absolutely. Oh my God, she is saying nothing but the truth. But it is your girl A Michelle here on the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show. We're gonna listen to Show Me by Naomi B here on the Worldwide Flavor Network.
Worldwide Flavor Network.
I am yours, Father. I know I am nothing like what you desire me to be. Oh, Lord, take my life. I am yours, Father. I know I am nothing like what you desire me to be. One thing I ask of you, doing me what you want. I will never be so mindful to always acknowledge you. Just show me who I am, the person deep within. I want to be more like you. Only you can show me. Oh Lord, please show me. Lord, take my mind. I want the mind of Christ. My thoughts are less than yours. I give up all for exchange of yours. One thing I ask of you, doing me what you want to. I will ever be so mindful to always acknowledge you. Show me who I am, the person deep within. I want to be more like you. Only you can love me. One thing I ask, doing me what you want to. I will ever be so mindful to always acknowledge you. Show me who I am, the person deep within. I want to be more like you. Only show me. And if you find something unlike you, just show me. Oh, and use me. If you lead, I'll go. I'll follow you. Oh, search me, and know me. If you find something unlike you, just show me, Lord, and hold me, Lord, and use me. show me, I will follow you. If you 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 show me, I will follow you. I will follow you. Show me, I will follow you. I will show me. Whatever you say, Lord, I will do. If you show me, I will show me. Show me, Lord. Show me, you know the way to go. For you are the open door. For you are the only way. Make me, I will just pray. I'm so lost without you. I'm desperate, Lord. You know your perfect plan. God, oh, you take my heart and show me. I need to show me. Show me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Show me.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Theron Fowler, and you're tuning in to Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show with A. Michelle.
And we are back. It's your girl, A. Michelle, here on the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show on the Worldwide Flavor Network. And we want to thank Naomi B for Show Me. That is a song, one of my favorites off of her album. Honestly, I almost like every song on her album. I can't even really say some of my favorite because every time I hear them, it just puts a different kind of spell on you. Like you just like, yes, it's just, she has this way. You have to get her album. She is a local artist here in Baltimore. You know, I'm about supporting the independent artists. And I am just so grateful that I know her as friend, not just as someone who is an artist, but I know her as friend as well. And so always cheering you on and supporting you, girl. Your girl here in the Worldwide Flavor Network, A. Michelle. And so we're going to do the inspirational corner for a second, and that is First Chronicles 10:4, and this is one of Deborah's favorites, I know. And Jabez said, on the God of Israel, because we're not reading the I have to remember that I'm not reading the New International Version, because I know it by heart by the New International Version. So we're reading it from the New King James Version. I'm sorry, King James Version. And so, and Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that thou would bless me indeed and enlarge my coast, and that thine hand might be with me, and that thou wouldest keep me from evil, that it may not grieve me, And God granted him that which he requested. And Deborah gave us something when we were doing this as her series. Change the Oh, and Jabez, change the and to your name. So Ann, Angela, and Deborah, and whomever whatever your name is, call on God of Israel. And I say that because put your name in that place, as she said, and it makes such a difference. It becomes more personable in your relationship and your walk with God. And even if you don't even feel like you may have quite the relationship that others may have with God, calling out like that, putting your name and calling out, oh, Israel, that is personal. When you call out and put your name to it, that's personal. So when you're thinking about what you want to call on, oh, Israel, for the God of Israel, you want to call, when you thinking about it, call your name first, because it's okay to ask for you sometime. We always want to be a blessing to others, and it's okay to be a blessing to others. But sometimes we got to call out for our own selves. And he's not always looking for us to have a dissertation to when we're calling out to him. He just wants us to call out. So when you call out your name and ask him for what you need. And as we've already talked about Habakkuk 2:2 through 3, you talk about what you want, you ask for what you want, you write it down, make it plain, and then you give it to the others to run with it. But make sure you've got that discerning spirit, that you are able to, those who are running with it are the ones who God has ordained to be on your team, the ones who are your partnership. Yes, I changed what, I had a whole nother thing of what I was going to say today, but God messed me up when he put that whole sermon this morning on me of what to say. And he put that whole thing because I had this text and I had some other words I wanted to say, but God put that whole partnership in place. And he had that to be said to me because he knew the meeting I had this past week. And I had some of that tied into it, but he put it in a different place because he had something new for me to see and hear. So I thank you, Lord. Most gracious and almighty Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for the Jabez prayer, Lord God. We know it says, and bless me indeed. And that's something we're asking you to do, is bless all of us indeed, Lord God. Lord God, I ask you right now that you will open up opportunities and blessings for others. Not just me and Deborah, but all of those who are connected to us and those who are not connected to us, those who are just even connected to us on social media. Bless them indeed. Enlarge their territory, enlarge their coast, as the King James version say, because they have different versions, Lord. And so he says the coast. So we asking that you open up the coast, enlarge the coast for those of us. When people are thinking that they want to do something different this week with their businesses and not sure what they need to do, enlarge their territory, give them the right partnership in this time and season. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And so I was just like, honestly, Deborah, I just was somewhere else with that this morning. I mean, he had given me that to say, because I said, Lord, what do you want me to say this weekend? He literally gave me that text back this week. And in giving me that text back, you then that just messed it all up and changed everything. I was like, okay, Lord, I hear you, because I know that there was purpose in the fact that I had no idea what Bishop was going to preach.
Exactly.
Okay. So when I got that, it put things in a whole different place for me. Like it really gelled my meeting this week and all of that together, and saying, yes, the partnership is needed in a different light, in a different group, in a different, because sometimes we want to go with this group, but God really wants you to go with this group. So he helps you see things differently. So now we're going to talk about Deborah books, because Deborah got one new book. She got two old books, but we got this one new book that is a motivational, inspirational book. And you know, that's my whole thing. You guys know I love inspiring people, motivating people, pushing people. And that's my thing. I'm about pushing because I know what that spirit of wanting to just stop and just walking away feels like. And once, you know, God used Joel Osteen some many years ago, because that's who he used. He used Joel Osteen some many years ago to show me that, because I was one to push people, but not push myself sometimes. Okay, like I could push you, and not saying that I wasn't a driver, because I was a driver. I'm always a driver in when I'm doing, but sometimes I just kind of would be laid back.
Right.
And I would be pushing you, telling you, come on, girl, come on, we got to get the you. And God
you were the cheerleader
used,
and not the quarterback.
right? Wasn't a quarterback by no means at all. And then God used Joel Osteen some many years ago to show me that you're not only a motivator, but you are a dream. That's when the dream pusher came in.
Right.
That's when he showed me that God used him to show me that I was a dream pusher, not just, you know, I was always a pusher, motivator, but I didn't realize I was a dream pusher. And that's when he used Joel Osteen to say, you know, say some words that encouraged me and pushed me into what I'm doing. And so I'm just glad that you have been obedient in writing the books that you have. I want you to give us information about every book. Now, of course, we kind of know what the motivational, inspirational might be about, but it was some motive behind what made God use you to write that. And so we know that it was not just always just a motivational book. We know that it's some purpose behind.
Most
wow.
definitely.
And the fact that you say 30 days of it, then we looking for some expectation at the end of those 30 days. I just believe that.
Exactly. And because we did a little different with the title, because everybody got a hashtag. You hashtag, but hashtags are always kind of negative. And you know, we don't really push any hashtag, because if a hashtag is positive, you don't see those
floating around.
Right. They're not floating around. They don't
Well, I know 5 mean grace. So
and there it is.
I'm like,
so
when I saw the hashtag 5, I was like, okay, it could be in grace. It could have been day 5 that she hashtag was 5, was like the 5th day when she thought of writing this book. I ain't know what the 5 meant. I just knew the 5 was significant because I knew it had grace attached to it. So I said, no, however she's using the 5 in this book, I can assure you that the 5 is significant.
It is significant. That's why we went hashtag 5, because 5 means grace and mercy.
Yes.
Because when you are looking for God's grace and mercy, sometimes you just need something to just motivate you and just remind you that God is still with you no matter what.
No matter
and
what.
Also, it also represents 5 minutes, because I saw a post and somebody said, take 5 minutes and pray for yourself. Take a picture of yourself, look at yourself, and you pray over yourself. I was like, this got
my imaginary mic. We always use this as my imaginary mic. We're going to drop the mic on that one, because that's a drop the mic. 5 minutes for yourself.
5 minutes. Jeez. And I was like, this got to be the good and crazy thing, but God said, do it. God said, do it. I said, what? So I turned everything off in the house. I got a picture of myself on my phone.
Take a picture.
Because I was getting ready to host an event. Ticket sales weren't looking right. I'll tell what it was. It was hashtag celebrate a sister. And because of that, that was celebrating different women from different walks of life, because I feel like just because we're Christian women doesn't mean that I can't celebrate somebody of a different lifestyle, somebody that has a different type of business. Why can't I celebrate them? Because God didn't take time to make no junk, and we're all good. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, and I do know how to speak great English, but that made more sense. It felt better.
Absolutely.
It felt better.
And that's just how it feels sometimes.
Yeah. So sometimes, you know, that Texas in me gonna come out. But with hashtag 5 and that whole 5 minutes, he said, and then I just started speaking over myself, and I said, you know what? I'm going to pray for myself like I would pray for somebody else. I started asking, and then I started hearing Donna Lawrence song, Speak Over Yourself. And then, you know, you had to call out your own name. Just like I was saying about being intentional and being specific with the prayer of Jabez, I started praying in that 5 minutes. I said, God, cover me. God, give me the strength that I need. God, I need tickets sales. God, I need you to make this event be what you have called it to be and what you want it to be. I started praying all these different things. And in that 5 minutes while I was praying, I started hearing dings and pings. And for those of you that know, you got Cash App, you have Twitter, you got inboxes and things that notify you. I didn't stop praying because God said you got to be continuous in this 5 minutes.
Right.
But in that 5 minutes, I was getting dings and pings, and I was like, God, what is going on? And all I kept doing is just calling on the name of Jesus. And then when that 5 minutes was up, I could not check nothing that was going on until after that 5 minutes. Y'all, I had people buying tickets. I had people requesting me to be in different places. Everything that I was praying for in that 5 minutes, started to happen within that 5 minutes. So that let me know that God can do it when we pray and ask for it. And it doesn't take a long time to do it. And then I started seeing the manifestation of that 5 minutes even later on, because it was like, God said, I'm going to show you I can do it right now, but I'm also going to show you when I do it later. And it's going to take you back to that time of when you were praying. So actually, that's how we came up with the title. Because then I said, God, what is 5? What is 5? Why is this so significant? And then God said, you have told people so many things, because I opened my show with a motivational moment.
Yes, you did.
Every show that I do has a motivational moment. And then, okay, for those of you that are in radio, I started looking at the analytics of my show. I realized that people were only staying on for the first 15 solid. They listened solid for that first 5 to 10 minutes, because that's when I get for the information. And it didn't mean that they didn't come back and watch the show later, but they stayed on until that motivational moment was over. So I said, God said, you know what? You want you to go back and I want you to revisit those, and you're going to put them in a book. I didn't know why. Wow. I did not know why. And it's 30 days. I did not change anything. So if I only prayed, and if motivational moment was one paragraph, that's all that's in the book. Wow. If it was a whole plethora of things, it's in the book. But then I still didn't know what God was doing with this. I just was obedient with the book. I didn't know that I was going to build a whole teaching series on this whole book.
Wow.
And it's not about the book, but it was how I put the book together.
Wow.
And I was like, God, you tripping me completely out. Because I had to do some things that were unconventional to me. And God said, you know what? We're going to work through this, and we're going to show people how to do different things and how to produce without burning themselves out. Okay. You're going to learn how to do this. And so in this, not only does it motivate you, there's places in there for you to take notes. You can write in there. You can say, you don't let God speak to you, because everything in every book that I have written has been about developing yourself and being true to yourself and learning how to be the best you, because we can't produce anything if we're not our best. No, you can produce, but you can't produce great things if you are not great to yourself.
Well, why do people don't want to develop themselves though, Deborah? That's the thing that I find with some people. They don't want to take the time to, I'm finished school. I don't want to learn nothing else. I don't want to do nothing else. But how do you expect to be successful if you're not going to take the time to want to learn?
But the operative word was, how do they measure their success? Because some people are content with going to that 9 to 5, getting that paycheck and doing what they do. But those of us that are hungry for more and know that God has shown us more, then we have to be ready. Now, this is where you are messing yourself up, because God done showed it to me, so I know God gonna do it. But faith without works is dead. You still got to get the training, because he's not going to put you in a position that you're not going to be prepared for. Now, true enough, I know people that have gotten jobs. I know people that have gotten positions that they weren't qualified for. But once they got in there, they got the qualifications. Mm-hmm. What are you doing to be qualified for when the door opens up? Or now that the door is open, you need to get the qualifications, because guess what? You can talk your way into something, but what you produce can get you kicked out as well.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So I think that's where we fall, because we have gotten so used to making it happen and doing us that when that starts to fall apart, we don't know what to do. But that's why you have to prepare yourself and get ready to change you on the inside. And then you never know where that past hurt that you have had starts to pop up and why you don't go any further, because you still dealing with that past hurt that you never got healed from.
Mhm.
So and that tends to be, excuse me, bear its ugly head right when you least expect it.
And I'm a firm believer of that. You have to get rid of that. Means at some point you gotta want to heal.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you gotta want to begin to bring some of that stuff to a closure. You may not even be able to talk to the person no more that you're hurting from, or things like that. But you got to be able to bring some closure for yourself.
Exactly.
And people just want to hold on to stuff. I'm not, because I'm one of them kind of people. It's not like I just don't care. It's just that I have to forgive and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't saying I forgot about it,
Right.
but I'm not
I
holding it
can't
against
dwell
you.
on it. Yeah,
I
can't
can't.
dwell on it. Now I
can't
might
dwell
not
on it.
hang out with you on the regular. I'm just saying. I mean, but I can.
It is
But
what
we
it is.
good. But we good.
Mm-hmm.
Once we move on, we move on.
Right.
But but a lot of times people don't want to do that. They don't.
Right.
Or they don't realize how much they are hurting because they've never taken a self inventory. They're so busy doing that they never sit down and look at themselves, and they never look at that. I might be a little cray cray. I can't. Every relationship that I get in is not working, or I keep meeting the same person, and that's
It's real.
significant other and or job. You're not looking at what you're bringing to the table, and until you heal you can't move on. Now you're still going to have some level of success, but think about if you were healed, how much further you could be in getting to where you want to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Deborah, with this inspirational book,
Mhm.
what is the expectation? Is that something for someone to be able to heal from? Or is it something that's in a way of just motivating them to move forward into whatever maybe they have been thinking about, dreaming about, desiring to do, and just haven't had the push, the drive to do it?
Yeah,
Is
this
that
this
what is
thing
this
right
book
here
doing?
is a push, because
Okay.
there's 30 of them in here.
Uh-huh.
So it just tells you, like, if you need to talk about alignment, there you can go right to that one. If you feel like you're off, you can go right there and you could do that one for 30 days. You pick and choose, and that's the cool part about this book, is that it's not a formula. It's up to you to choose. So it's 30 different sections, 30 different moments that you can choose from, that you can go through and
Wow.
go to, and it talks about it, because I got one that talks about the tomb. It's like so many times we get thrown off because, oh, he was in a borrowed tomb. But guess what? You might be in a borrowed tomb. Your tomb might be where you're going to make your transformation. But when the stone is rolled away, what are you coming out as? Think about it. There were two tomb situations. Are you coming out being risen up to give, let's say, the prophecy of what Jesus is going to do? Are you Lazarus or are you Jesus? Which tomb are you coming out of? So we talk about that in that motivational moment, because it doesn't matter which one you are. Just know that you're going to rise up and that you're going to have some transformation, and that it's not going to always be pretty while you in the tomb. Because remember, if you're thinking about Lazarus was already decaying, but God said, come up, get up, and spoke his name. So just because your situation doesn't look good, smell good, or desired by other people, God can still use you from your tomb situation. But now when you come out of that, now you got a testimony.
So, Deborah, would you say that, because it says 30 days? So would you say the person needs to read it one day at a time, or could they sit and just read all 30 days at one time? And then, how would you kind of suggest a person matriculate through this book?
For this book, I would say do you.
Okay.
Whatever you're comfortable with doing, because one of them might be something that you need to go back and just sit on for 30 days.
Oh,
yeah.
So one of the days might be a 30
might
days.
be your 30 days. I
Okay.
can't tell you, because my thing is, I don't know what you're going through at that time.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you need to read this one for a week. Maybe this is the one you need to meditate on every day for a minute. Because sometimes we try to put a timeline on what we're doing, and that timeline is not what God wants us to do. And honestly, you need to pray about how do you want me to do this?
Mhm.
Because it's not a workbook. This is actually just something for you to just have for, like, okay, for 30 days, I got something I know I can get up and read in the morning. And I know that for 30 days, I know I got something. Let me just see what this is going to do for this day. Let me see if this is something that's going to help me out for this day. That's what this book is about.
Okay.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
is not like, oh, I got to do some work with this. I got to do, no. This is called getting some clarity. Because, it's just like you said, you get those posts in the morning.
Mhm.
Those little posts in the morning. Those are so great. But maybe because some people just need to read. And
Girl,
some people
and you
need to
saying
write.
that this young lady one day, I had no idea this young lady was following me. I post a scripture and a song every day, and I try to. Some mornings I be trying to do, but then God will put a whole nother song in my spirit, even though I have a song in my mind of what I'm going to post. But this young lady posted one day, Deborah said, "Thank you for taking me back to the Word."
There it is.
I was like, wow. Had no idea this young lady was reading my stuff every day. And this one day she wrote on there, "Thank you for taking me." Because some people read your stuff and like it, but keep moving. Don't write nothing.
Don't comment.
But this person, she literally wrote, "Thank you for taking me back to the Word."
You sound like me with this whole prayer J-Bad challenge I did.
Yeah.
I had you inbox talk about where is Dave? You asked me about a day. I was like, you ahead.
Girl, I was like, oh my gosh. And then, because I was between me reading the book and that, I was like, did I miss something? I was like, because I didn't go to your page. I'm used to it popping up not in my timeline. I can go to the thing and I'll see it.
Right. But you know what? I said that wasn't. But this was the craziest thing. I had one young lady. She inboxed me. She says, "I want to do this. I want to do this. Where are the steps? Where are the steps?" I said, "Y'all, I'm putting it together. I was trying to put it in this nice little package because some of them days and videos was not cute. So I was just gonna take the video out, just put the audio and something. Because one day I said, oh Lord, because I was determined to get those 10 days in. I said, oh my God, I look like a gypsy. So I'm just gonna take. That was what that day I had on that little black thing with the little silk. Girl, I said, Jesus. I look like I'm about to tell somebody fortune. Let me not do this. So I was like, I'm taking the video out of all of these. I'm gonna put the audio together.
But I think it was raining that day. It was something that I kind of brushed it off.
It didn't even matter because I looked a hot mess, but I was determined. Y'all, sometimes you just got to do, because when God tell you to do something, you just got to do it. You be like, Lord, let them look over me, looking like I'm about to go.
Girl, it was for purpose. Let me tell you, you was moving in purpose. And honestly, I didn't even see you. I saw it, but you know how my purpose was what? I needed to hear what you were going to say to align to what I was already doing, And
and it's like you think about that, and this is when you get caught up. And so the young lady was like, when you gonna post it? When you gonna? So I'm trying to put it all in a nice little package. Next thing I know, she done went through and found them. She has been reposting them every day.
Wow.
Day 1, she posted. Day 2, I said, oh, maybe she just,
wow.
No, she is posting them in the series of the 10 days. And I said, you know what, God, thank you for using me to be able to speak to somebody that don't know me from a hole in the wall. And when you start to see your ministry growing and it wasn't your intention. That was not my intention. Now, true enough, I did pray the prayer of Jabez, and I did ask God to enlarge my territory for what I was doing in ministry and where I was going with my business. But, when somebody intentionally shares your stuff, it's one thing when people just share. No, you share and tagging. That's different. And that's something, but you like, that blows you away. That messes you up. Absolutely. Because it's like, when that first time somebody says, oh, you really helped me. You like me? Because when you're doing it, you're not doing it to get the accolades. You're not doing it to get the recognition. You're doing it because that's what God told you to do. And so when God uses you, you just have to be ready to just say, oh my God, well, thank you and God bless you.
When a deacon in your church walk up to you and say, I listen to your inspirational corner every Sunday. I didn't even know the man was watching me. How about that? I didn't even know the man was even watching my show.
How about because nobody comments.
Right.
Or
and normally he's in church at that time.
Yes.
So that means he's making an effort. He's making an effort
to
go back into the show. That humbled me even more, Deborah. Because that man, I know he's a deacon. He's a deacon in my church. He's in church.
Yeah.
And him to go back when he gets home.
But just to have members, period. Members of your church, period. Especially when they walk up to you and be like, why you not doing nothing? What we missing you? And in my mind, I didn't even know you was watching.
Right.
because it's like you don't know who you are helping.
And that's
you
why I tell
don't know
people be
who you are
careful what you're saying on your
exactly.
social media, because people want to get caught up.
Mhm.
But I'm thankful, I'm grateful for what God has blessed me with. And so let's talk about your books real quick, because I want to touch on somebody that before we close out the show, just to get your feel on something.
Y'all, she
Yeah.
finna take me there,
Yeah,
because y'all know I'm a little opinionated. All right, so my other book, my second book, was 21 Minutes, 21 Days of Prayer and Meditation. Now, this is a workbook, because a lot of times we get caught up, and it takes 21 days to
get a
form a
habit.
habit.
Mhm.
But the significant piece about this particular book, it talks about praying intentional. It talks about, a lot of times people have been going through different things. This one already has prayers in it. So if you needed to pray for your children, if you're praying about making a decision, I have actually put in pre-done prayers that I prayed.
Wow.
And if you're looking for fertility, achieving dreams, I think I need a job, future spouse, the whole nine is in here. And what it is, this is the cool part. I had to do this challenge, and it was a 21-minute challenge, because not only are you going to do it for 21 days, you're only doing 21 minutes with this. That means 7 minutes of prayer, 7 minutes of reading your word or an inspirational anything for 7 minutes, and then 7 minutes of just sitting and listening. A lot of times we don't hear from God because we don't shut up. At the end of the day, we're not being quiet. So this forces you into just sitting for 7 minutes. And even if you say, well, I ain't hear nothing from God, well, guess what? This might have been the first. That's okay. Because you did hear something, because you ain't hear nothing. Because you would just maybe God just needed you to sit in silence.
Okay.
And that's what that 21 minutes is about. Now, this one does have a workbook. It has a place for you to go every day for 21 minutes, and you take notes on what you're doing. You put a topic in, what you praying, how you prayed it, because you need to have record of what you are doing. And that's what 21 minutes and 21 days of prayer and meditation is. Now, my first baby was adjectives. Y'all, adjectives just rocked my whole world. Adjectives came out of one of my darkest seasons. When I tell you, I had a prophet prophesy to me, you need to get out of where you are because you got a bunch of snakes around you. I was like, wow, okay. But he didn't know what I was going through. He didn't know that I had just had a miscarriage and just started in ministry. He didn't know that I had just had a horrible ending of a relationship. He didn't know any of that. He didn't know that people were lying on me. He didn't know that I had gotten so far into myself that then that's when I realized, when I came out of it, why my hair was falling out. I wasn't wearing weave because I wanted to be cute. I was wearing it because I ain't had no hair. And so in that season, God said, go back to what you know how to do. And my background is radio. My background is PR and advertising. That's what I have my degree in. And so I said, well, I really do like radio, so maybe I should go back into it. And I asked a friend, and he was like, I'm getting ready to start a station. You want to come on and just be the host for the show? Wow. I said, God, you doing it like this? You doing it like this?
Wow.
You doing it like this?
That's how he'll do it.
Right. And so then from there, it was like the station was saying, y'all need to start doing events. And I said, well, okay, I'll come up with something. I'll do it for single women. And, we started talking about different things. And I said, but one thing I needed to heal from myself is that I had to heal from myself from what people said about me. Because I wasn't somebody that was physically abused. I was verbally abused. And a lot of times we don't identify the verbal abuse because I was a short one. I was the chunky one. I was like too dark to be light, too light to be dark. So I was stuck in the middle. I told y'all I'm from the South. So those of them from the South, you recognize it. And you're worthless. You'll never get married because you too fat and you this and you that. And so I started to live in that world. And in that world, I started to just not caring. And then I would pour myself into my work. And so then that's how adjectives came about, because I said, God had to deliver me out of that. And adjectives is actually an acronym. And I make this joke all the time that I never memorize it, and I can't. I don't know why, but I just can't memorize it. It means autonomy, dedication, justification, edification, confidence, tenacity, innovation, vivacious, endurance, and sensuous. And yes, I deal with being sensuous because a lot of times we put sensuous first as opposed to being last. And that's why we lose ourselves in the situation. And so
Powerful.
it also has a poem that I'm going to read for y'all. And it's called Adjectives. Tall, bald, ugly, skinny, fat, stupid, dumb, unattractive, weird are all the words that send your life into a frenzy. You will never marry. Your biological clock is about to stop ticking. As I shiver at night, hearing all the adjectives from my past, you're stupid, you're fat, you're not the one for me. Good for a one night stand, but never for the one to meet your mother. Why, God? Why me? Why do these adjectives fill my space? Why do I have to be the fat girl, but you have a pretty face? Why couldn't I have been the debutante with the long flowing hair, the hourglass figure, the one that all the guys woo and pine after? Then God reminded me that I was smart, successful, energetic, and full of life. So deal with your life and look for the new adjectives. What is an adjective? A word that describes a noun. I am that noun. Caring, funny, successful, radiant, exciting, exuberant, beautiful, graceful, and loving.
Wow.
That's adjective.
That's positive. That's powerful and positive. But all in itself, it was just like, wow, that is something.
So
That's
adjectives, it is a workbook. And y'all, my favorite part is my question that I always ask at the end of the very first chapter. Are you a Godiva or are you Hershey? Because they're both chocolate, but only one is a boutique. And you can only get it in certain places. So I vow to be a Godiva. Because Godiva can only be found in certain places. It's not widely available. And that's what we have to start. We're only running our lives as we have to start being boutique material, not Costco and Walmart and Sam's, because that's open for everybody and there's a lot of it.
Facts.
Easily accessible. That's what I was. That's
the whole point, right?
Yeah, easily accessible.
Wow. Okay, where can they get those books at? Because all three of them, I can't even tell you which one to get over the other because they all have some purpose, and that's the whole point.
That's the whole thing.
I love the 21-minute thing, and I'm thinking like, do you advise a person to do like that? Was my thought when she started talking about 21 minutes and 21 something, whatever, and I was like, do you advise a person to do that in the morning? Or do you advise a person that, do they do it in the evening?
You do it when you're comfortable.
Right. And that's what my thought was. They got to do it in a place of the day where they feel like they are ready to
because at the end of
be
the day,
ministered to sometimes.
But at the end of the day, it's 21 minutes. Can you give God 21 minutes of your day? Because that's really what it's boiling down to.
That's what it is.
It doesn't matter when that 21 minutes happen, but can you effectively and intentionally give God 21 minutes of your day?
Without distraction. See, that was my whole thought. That was my whole thought.
But the thing is, you turn everything off and you set your timer. And what's going to happen that first time you do it, you're going to like, dang, that 21 minutes ain't over yet. Or like I did it when I first started doing it, I would set it for 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Okay, God, I'm praying for 7 minutes. So when the timer went off, I said, oh, God. Because at first you be like, God, I'm still praying. That 7 minutes ain't over yet. But then when you start doing it, you're going to realize 7 minutes ain't long enough, but you got to stop. Soon as that ding, amen. Then you set it again for another 7 minutes. Then ding, okay, now I got to sit quiet for 7 minutes. Even if you're reading your word, you got to stop at that 7 minutes. Put a pin there. That's where you pick it up the next time.
Oh.
Okay. So then, because see, you know how we get juicy, but that's you're not following directions and you're not being intentional. But when then with the end of that 7 minutes, okay, God, I need to hear from you. Set the time again. And it's not that you putting God on a timer, but you're being intentional about your time.
Because I just feel like when people ask me sometimes, they're like, you're up, you're doing your meditation. I said, because I have no distractions in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my focus is. Like in the morning, doing my morning meditation.
But this
and whatever
is
time
separate.
go, right. And that's that book is separate. And so, but it's like, because sometimes I've had people ask me, well, what time do you get up? I said, whatever time God gets me up, I get up and I do my morning meditation. Then I may lay back down, but I do my meditation. And I said that can be anywhere from between 3 a.m. and 5:30 in the morning. Anywhere in that window, God will wake me up.
And I tell anybody,
and I do my meditation
if God wake
first.
you up at 3:30, you better start praying for everybody, yourself, in your family. Just start praying. You don't know what you're praying for, but it's something about that 3:30 hour.
Something about it.
It's something because
right.
when God wake me up in that 3:30, 4:30 situation,
He
I'm
got
like, okay,
purpose.
it's purpose, and I better start praying, and I better
Right.
start doing something because I'm praying for somebody and don't know who it is because all I'm just like God cover
Facts.
because a lot of times we get messed up even with that. You got to know what God doing to you, and that's just come on, Samuel and Eli.
Because if he wake my normal time to wake up without any alarms every day, I'm up between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. Between that time, I'm waking up. But when he wake me up at that 3 o'clock time, Deborah, first of all, I immediately will go into prayer, like you said, only because I know I'm like, okay, God, I'd rather be asleep.
Right.
But I know you got something. I don't know what you trying to do, what you trying to say, but I'd rather be asleep at 3 o'clock. So I know there's a purpose in this. And therefore, because don't nobody want to be up at 3 o'clock.
No, not at all.
No, they ain't gotta be.
No, you ain't gotta be. No, ma'am, press time.
Especially if you just went to sleep. Especially when them times when you just went to sleep.
Right, and it just got good.
And he just wake you back up.
Like wide awake.
Wow.
Like, really?
Really? Honestly. Wow. So tell them how can they get your books?
You can go to my website, conversationsdeborahfranklin.com, or you can inbox me and I can give you a link to where we are running a special at this time for the bit.ly, and I don't remember it, but I will post it. Or you can go to Amazon. All 3 books are on Amazon. But if you want them quicker and let's just say at a little discounted rate, reach out to me and we can get them over to you.
Oh, she like that. I like them kind of things. She got books on hand. I love when people have books on hand. Because some people always want to send you somewhere. I be like, girl, them books on hand become handy. Because I believe sometimes when it's right there, and that's why I believe in people having their product and branding, because when it's right there, you can grab that person and you don't know what you need to get that in that spirit right then. Because if they need it right, they wouldn't have touched it or said they needed it. So,
and if you go through the website or if you inbox me, then I also autograph them and put a personal message into the book.
Look at that, y'all. Look at that. You get an autographed copy. But I want to go there because we're talking about, change and inspiration and pushing and driving and our boy Kanye West.
All right, let's go. What you want?
Okay.
Amen.
He came out with some new music, and his new music is on the gospel side.
Yes.
And so I'm about people changing. I believe God can change anybody.
Right.
And I'm just a firm believer of that. I'm a firm believer that he can, of course, he can turn water into wine. So if he can turn water into wine, that means he can change you from being whatever you were to where he got you right now.
And if he can use a donkey to speak,
right?
Amen.
He can use anybody.
Exactly.
So why do you feel people are having such a struggle with accepting that Kanye could be really a changed gentleman? Like, he's now gotten help. Y'all all people made an issue about he needed to get some help. I felt he needed help before even his mother died. So once his mother died, I believe it just exasperated. It really exasperated at that point. Okay. Yeah. And then, God put him in a place that he got the help. Why do you think people are struggling so much that he is a changed gentleman?
Well, I think he's struggling in the African-American community because of some of the statements that he is saying. When you say that slavery was a choice, when you openly support, what number is this in the White House?
45.
Yeah, 45. I didn't want to say the wrong one because I don't want to insult anybody.
Right.
When you openly support someone that is openly, how can I say this? Disrespectful, racist.
Right.
It's just certain things that he's doing that kind of cloud the whole change portion, because it's like I'm looking at it. I've heard some of the music. The beats are hot.
Oh my God, girl. And see, when you're a music person, it's like the beats is like everything.
Yeah. So, it's like the music is great, but it's like, what is the intentionality behind this? And then I saw a post from someone else. Is he strong enough? Those of us that grew up in the church, those of us that know how church can be, is he strong enough to handle if the church actually turns their back on him? If can he handle that? But I also think the biggest problem for me with Kanye right now is some of the things that he's saying, because as a African-American man raising African American children, regardless that you're married to a Kardashian,
Mhm.
when they look at these children, they're going to say that they are African American. How you can instill in them that slavery was a choice, that they could have gotten out if they wanted to, or that racism isn't real. You
Mhm.
can't tell me that. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
you have got to go read your history. You need to know what's going on, because technically there were people like you then.
Mhm.
And that's why a lot of the civil rights movements couldn't go, because everybody said, oh, you got a choice. But a lot of times people that say that they have choices already have, quote unquote, the money, already have a seat in the room. They're not dealing with police brutality
Mhm.
that much. What happens when you go to somewhere in the Midwest where nobody knows who you are?
Mhm.
What's going to happen if you get pulled over and they don't know who a Kanye is? All they see, especially if you're not with the entourage, especially if you're not in the car that lets people know, oh, this must be a celebrity, this must be somebody important. Because I hear so many times of even athletes, because they're not with the entourage and nobody recognizes them
Facts.
right at hand, they just look at them as some other average Joe that, hey, they might be just hanging with the fam. Because you know how we are when we with family. We don't care that Bubba truck is beat up, toe up from the floor up. We just getting in and riding because
Right.
that's fam.
Right.
But and you can have all these accolades, but when you with family, you ain't nobody.
You
Because at the end,
You with
at the
your
end of the
family.
day, you ain't nobody. You have
Right.
no title. But then when you go out, especially if you're in an area where they don't, quote unquote, know you,
Mhm.
you're going to be treated that way. So what happens when that happens?
Right.
You can't, and I'm almost to the point that maybe that does need to happen so he can wake up and not
Mhm.
make those type of statements, because you're offending the people that can support you.
Right.
And a lot of the churches have been opening up,
Mhm.
because I know he was in Atlanta. He's been at a couple other churches. I'm not sure. I think he was at Howard. He did
Mhm.
service at Howard during
Mhm.
homecoming weekend. It's like, I'm not sure if he's been to a church here in Baltimore yet,
Mhm.
but it's like churches are opening up to you. So not everybody is crashing on you, but
Mhm.
it's what you are saying while you are there.
Correct.
You cannot misuse your platform. And
Correct.
there might not be a lot of folk, quote unquote, in the church, but you can't mess up that platform. Because once you mess up on a church platform,
Girl.
that's a wrap.
Ooh.
That's a wrap.
Ooh, that's
Because
real.
especially if you come in and you real bad off, they let some stuff slide. But you come in and really do some real off stuff, you can't come back from that. We have evidence of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have evidence,
and I
I'm
think
not
that's
gonna
why
talk
he's
about
being.
that.
I still think that's part of the reason why he's being very careful of what he's saying. I think he's being orchestrated on what to say because of his environment. And probably the publicist is being very careful. I'm sure that's what the whole intention is, because I just feel like he's being very intentional on what he's saying in this platform now.
Right.
I believe that God is changed him, but I just feel like his eyes to the community in which he is a part of is still clouded in some form.
Most definitely. Because again, you're picking and choosing what you say, where you go. Because you go to one church, you say one thing, but then you go to another church and you say another. So what you thought you could get away with, you did not. And that caused a whole firestorm. And so you got to be careful. Just because that particular pastor is not as vocal as another pastor does not mean that they don't have the same views and or the same connections. Because again, you don't know who in this whole churchdom syndrome.
Yes.
This thing is real.
Right.
Because just because you don't see me posted up with that person doesn't mean that I don't know them.
Facts.
Or don't mean that I don't have their number in my phone, because everybody don't put their business in the street.
Absolutely.
Especially people that post what
and
they
everybody's
want to
not
post.
name callers or name
And
droppers.
there it is.
So therefore you can't associate that in that capacity like that.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I think that's part of the mistake that he's making, because he doesn't realize the church system is huge, but the church system is very small. Because a lot of preachers that you don't think cross over for in all audiences.
Mhm.
So you got to be careful wherever you go in what you're doing. And I think that's his misunderstanding
Mhm.
of the African American church system or churchdom, period.
Mhm.
Because you got to know that you got to be careful everywhere you go.
Mhm. I just think he needs to stop. I mean, I'm not telling him not to talk about his values or his
Mhm,
beliefs or
mhm.
anything like that. But when you're dealing with the community at hand of the church community, I don't think he needs to be talking about that in those
Politics,
environments.
right.
I don't think he needs to talk about it in those environments, because then you put people in a different place and space. And so therefore, of course, people are living this thing of saying, believing in this and saying, look, I don't believe him. I don't trust him. I don't,
Right.
I don't believe what he's saying in his, his songs and things of that nature. And I'm like, I can't say what his songs are saying is not what his, how he's feeling, and what,
Exactly.
the message he's trying to convey to the church community
Mhm.
at whole. But what he says about his whole politics thing, I don't think he needs to mix them together. If you're trying to really
If you're trying to bridge the
bridge a
gap,
gap, right?
it's too volatile now.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now people are acting out on things that they would have never done, let's say 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. You have people that are so volatile because we did go through this whole season of political correctness. Now we're okay to be politically incorrect, and you're kind of applauded, but then you're looked at also kind of weirdly. But he has to be careful with what he's saying, because you don't know what that's going to set off in somebody else. It's like whoever your publicist is, or whoever's in, not even your publicist, whoever's in your ear needs to start speaking some real truth to you. Because I'm not saying that you
But it
can't
depends on
change.
their mindset, though.
And there
That's
it
the
is.
thing.
There it
Because
is.
that's why I said it.
Okay, but
I
that goes
believe-
back to your team analogy.
Right.
You
right.
need everybody on your team.
Absolutely.
And you don't need a lot of yes people and people that are going to support your cray cray. Because sometimes your cray cray is cray cray.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to get somebody on your team
That's gonna correct you.
That's going to correct you. That's going to be honest with you. That's still going to take your dream. Because everybody that gives you advice doesn't mean that they're trying to crash your dream. Sometimes they're just trying to help you see a bigger picture. And I think that's where he's messing up.
Mhm.
Because either he doesn't understand this whole churchdom situation.
I just think the whole team, and I don't know his team,
Right.
but I just feel like the team, I can't say they not some of us. They may be African American, they may not be. I don't know what culture they are.
Okay, at the end of the day, you can't have West Coast church folk trying to tell people in the Bible Belt. You need to get some Bible Belt folk on your team,
Right.
that understand how the Bible Belt
And that's the
think.
difference. I don't believe he may have been changed and God may be using him.
Right.
But I don't believe the whole
You
team.
can't come to the South and say
Right.
the same thing that you say on the East Coast or the West Coast. That's just
It
facts.
just ain't gonna happen.
And Midwest, you can't say certain things because church is different. Church is seen
In every area.
Because when I moved out here, I was like, oh, this is what y'all do. Because I come from Texas. Church in Texas is totally different. In that South, in that Bible Belt, in the buckle of the Bible Belt,
Mhm.
that's different.
It's definitely different. Definitely different. And therefore, I'm not sure who's on his team, but it doesn't appear that his team may be on the same path that he's on right now.
That's a good way of putting it.
I'm trying to
that was so politically correct. From you,
right.
as
I was
say
trying to be
Michelle.
politically correct. I just don't believe they're all on the same path.
Let's just say they're probably not all. They may all be in the same book, but they're not all in the same page or chapter.
Right.
Because right now they need to get in the same chapter. Because for him to be as effective as he wants to be, and I get it, you want to have a mobile ministry, because I feel like he was tapping into it when he first came out with the what Jesus Walks.
Mhm.
I thought, man, that was killer to me. And so I liked it. And I was like, okay, so maybe he I know it's something there, but right now we need to put it together in a package that makes sense for everybody.
Mhm. Facts. Well, I just wanted to get your views on it because it's just so much is being said and trying to get it from a minister's leader point of view, because most of the people that have come to me and talked to me have been people who are not ministers, and most of them are in church, not in church. They were all different places. And I wanted to get it from, I had not talked to any ministers about it. And so I said, let me talk to her. Let me see what her view is, see where her place is about the whole Kanye thing. Because I mean, I believe God can change anybody and he can use anybody, but I don't believe we need to be misusing. And that's what's coming along these days. People are misusing the church in the way that they're using it in their capacity of way they want to. Let me just put it that way, versus it being what God intent for the church was to be for. And so I just had to get your view, and we kind of like on the same path, you know. I didn't doubt that you were going to be kind of saying some of the stuff that I was going to be thinking already and have thought. I wish him the very best. I mean, his music has always been phenomenal, secular and gospel. I mean, this gospel thing, the music is hot.
Is good.
The beats are hot.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, the lyrics, some of the lyrics are even great.
Right.
But it's like, we just need you to, you know, sometimes baby, just sing. Don't talk. Just sing. Don't. That's your lane. Stay in your lane.
You know how the singer sings and talks in between their songs.
Yeah.
Don't you do that. Just get up and perform.
Yeah. And just sit your happy tail down.
Like, you know, thank you for give your accolades and thank yous to all, you know, to the pastor, the churches, and whomever you need to give thanks to. But then sing and take your seat. That's all I'm gonna say.
Absolutely.
But you know, I wish him the best, you know.
Amen.
Whatever
Amen.
God, you know, has intended for him. But I think he needs to learn his history.
Most definitely.
I just believe some of the new generation of young folk
up from slavery will be a great thing to do.
Millennials have not been versed because they took a lot of stuff out of school. I know he's not a millennial, but I'm saying with this new generation, because they can get misinterpreted and caught up in his stuff.
Yes.
Because this millennial age and younger have not been taught what we were taught. That's
because technically we were only one generation from the civil rights movement. Technically. And so when you look at it from that perspective, we still had grandparents. Like my great grandmother was basically born right at the end of slavery.
Okay.
So it was like, you know, so we're talking about my great grandmother lived to be 104. So we knew her. We had a relationship with her. We know what the struggle was. So we, you know, it's like when you have that generational thing going on and you can reach back to people in your family. Now I'm looking at, let's say my nephews, they don't have that. They don't have that. Like you know, they knew my grandmother, but they didn't know their great grandmother, but they didn't know our great grandmother.
Right.
And so what we've instilled in them is totally different than what we've had to experience. Because again, like I said, I'm from Texas. So I remember the summer we were at my grandmother's house and we could not leave out the house because there was a KKK rally going on. And she was like, you are not leaving out this house. Now, mind you, I'm a product of neighbors. My parents grew up across the street from each other. So that means I couldn't even go across the street unless somebody was watching us come across the street.
Correct.
Like literally.
That's how it was when we were growing up. Once it got dark and we were down, especially if we were down South Carolina. When we were down at the family house in South Carolina, one, we ain't had no street lights where my aunt and mom lived. So therefore, we couldn't go nowhere without them taking us to where once the sun went down, you was in the house, wasn't no playing outside, none of that carrying on stuff. You didn't go nowhere.
You just didn't know.
You just didn't know.
That's something that we grew up with. Whereas kids now, they didn't grow up with that. No. Not saying that it wasn't around and it was in a different form, but it's like they didn't have to experience it so close and so firsthand.
Right.
So now it's like we have to start teaching that generation some of our experiences. And because they've actually taken vocabulary out of context as well. Because remember, you back in the day, you used to call somebody a B, you getting ready to fight.
It was fighting words. They used it as a term of endearment. And I don't see I still don't. Like I can't.
I'm like, come on, I'm gonna pull off my good earrings. Right. We need to go. Because right now, this ain't right. But because we've taken the sting out of some things, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Just like when you would drop, let's say, the F-bomb, that meant you was really mad. That meant there was fighting words too.
Girl.
Now it's just everyday language.
Right.
And so when we've started to water down things that used to make us angry, that's what's going to put us in the positions that we are in now.
Facts. That's facts. Honestly, I got you on that, and I'm a firm believer of that. And that's why I said, I know Kanye is not a millennial, but those who are listening to him are millennials and
Mhm.
younger, and therefore I don't want those individuals to be fooled
Right.
by the things that he's
Hoodwinked
saying,
and bamboozled.
because they have not been taught, and because what we learned in school they're not learning today.
Mhm.
So therefore I don't want them to be lost
Right.
by what he's saying, bamboozled, as you about to say,
Mhm.
into what he's saying is correct information. Because if you really learn the history, and if you really learn what we were taught as it related to slavery and all that other stuff,
Mhm.
you would have a different mindset.
You would, yeah, because right now in schools they're teaching them slavery, and that's about it. And then, but in a way, my school was like that too, because I did go to I was a suburban kid growing
Okay.
up,
Okay.
but I also had a hunger to know my history. So what they didn't teach me, I went and learned on my own,
Okay.
because they wanted to teach us about MLK, Martin Luther King, for everything. But see, I was the one that would come back to about, but what about Malcolm X? Because I was a little militant.
Okay.
I shouldn't have
Okay.
been, but but it was what it was. I did
Okay.
me.
Okay. Okay.
But I had a hunger to learn
Okay.
something else other than what they were teaching me. And right now, our kids don't have a hunger,
But
to learn
but they've
anything.
never really been taught it, let alone.
But that's anything,
right. They
not
don't
just
have a
their
hunger.
history.
I don't even think they had a hunger. I didn't have a hunger to learn it either. But because we were taught it, we would
Yeah.
it was bred in us to
Because you
learn
still
from
got
those
it,
teachers.
but you still got it at church.
You got it at church.
Let's just be honest.
That's
because
true.
we're not doing Black History at church anymore.
Right.
We don't have to do the little Black History plays, because right in February, every church had a Black History play.
They had something.
Something. And we're not doing it because
We're not doing it.
all the back part had all the little Black people hanging up. I don't care what church you went to,
Mhm.
whether you was Baptist, Kojic, AME, it didn't matter.
They did
Everybody
something.
had something. So can we really blame it all on the education system?
We can't.
No, we got to look at the education system. We got to look at our families, and we have to go back to our churches, because usually where the school was lacking, the church picked up.
Right.
And now the church is not about, hate to say this, sometimes the church isn't about ministry, is more about numbers than it is ministry. And I hate to say it like that, but we have to get back to what the church was doing, because it used to be politicians had to go to the church because they knew that was the only place that they could get that particular segment together to even hear what they had to say. Now, I'm not saying that I like politicians that come to church. Now, where's the gathering place? Because even when you had to get a movement started, it started at the church, because that's where they
Right.
knew everybody was.
Right.
And we needed to talk about Sister Susie don't have bread in her house. It was at the church that we discussed it, and we got the money together, and you went and got Sister Susie some bread.
Absolutely.
So right now, we don't have that general place, because we are losing fellowship straight across the board, especially with the age of being able to log into service, being able to log into this and then turn it off, because now I don't have any relationship. So in order for us to teach our history, in order for us to get the word out, we have to start building relationships. And then now that goes back to what we were saying with Kanye. Where are his relationships? Who is he in relationship with that says that some of the things that he's doing is okay?
Mm-hmm. And his, because I don't know his mom and him, I know were close, but I don't know the foundation of that.
Exactly.
And the fact that, and now that she's gone, where's the other family dynamics? What were their values and their mindsets? So, you don't have any of that to even relate to have an understanding of where they are and where he thinks the way he thinks, that's just like how it is. And so, wow. Well, of course, guys, we went over time, but it's okay. Because we're giving some good, it's all good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But the thing is, I just wanted to get your view to see how you felt, because from a minister's perspective versus just general people perspectives. And it's okay. Everybody has entitled to their own feeling and how they feel about the whole Kanye West thing. My thing is just continue to pray for him.
Amen.
That's what we have to do.
Because at the end of the day, we got to stop talking and start praying.
We got to pray
because
for everything. Everything that we're dealing with,
and
everything that we're dealing with right now, and that prayer of Jabez prayer has been so more powerful than just about blessing us, because we being a blessed, we asking God to bless us, but us being the blessing asking for the blessing can be us being a blessing to someone else. And that's why when it says enlarge your territory in the King James version, enlarge your coast, and the law, and I think it's I think the Message Bible, oh God, I can't remember what the Message Bible said. But regardless, I'm unsure if there's
at the
territory.
end of the day, it's all about being
being
enlarged.
And that means being a blessing, being
Exactly.
able to help someone else. And therefore, instead of us talking bad about Kanye, let's find our place in a place of praying for him, that he does get, if he is, we don't know what kind of guidance he's getting, but we just pray for him and the guidance that he's been given.
And God gives him a revelation,
Right?
Because, and then I'm sorry, I know we out of time.
Yeah, but
even with the prayer of Jabez, we need to look at that, what Jabez's name means.
Right.
It meant that his mother named it that because he caused her so much pain to get into this world. And at the end of the day, we might even be looking at Kanye as even being Jabez, because Kanye has been through so much pain. And so now, because
that's
of
where
the
I was going with the whole. That's what my first. That was my first write up was talking about the pain, but then God changed it with the whole partnership thing that he was using, enlarge the territory. But he then took me into the enlarge the territory part when the sermon this morning, because then territory was dealing with partnership to me,
right? And
that's
see, even that can be born out of pain. And what we have to look at is just because something might have been born in pain doesn't mean that it has to stay in pain. And even though you have been born in pain, your business was developed out of pain. I promise you, my books were developed out of pain, but I didn't have to stay in the pain. And the biggest thing about it, he's in the prayer, he says, enlarge my territory and I will not cause pain. So that means just because you went through the pain, you can't cause pain when God starts to enlarge your territory, because that's for the remnant that he's getting ready to send out. Because so many of us have been in the background and now God is getting ready to move us to the foreground, is that we can't do the same thing that the people that are ahead of us have done. Because if you look at some of our leaders now, they cause so much pain in the positions that they were in.
Preaching, y'all.
That now that God is getting ready to take their territory and give it to the people that he's been preparing in the background. So when you start talking about you're too old for this, you're too young for that, you don't have the right education, you don't have the right pedigree, I say, forget it. Because at the end of the day, God is going to use you in a way, because if you commit to God on what you're supposed to do and you're walking in your purpose and your destiny, then God is going to bless that. But at the end of the day, when you get there, when you get to the quote unquote top, you can't forget the people that help you get there, because it's only lonely at the top when you don't take anybody with you. And then you can't cause pain. You can't start backbiting. You can't start looking down your nose at somebody else. You can't start treating people like they're the scum of the earth because now you quote unquote made it. Because guess what? Just as fast as you made it is just as fast as God can knock you right back down. And because God is using you as a remnant, you don't want to be the remnant that gets discarded again. Because normally that remnant is what that little, think about it, when fabric is torn, you have all these little pieces that are around. And so I think about, let's look at it like a quilt. Those patch quilts, because patch quilts is nothing but old fabrics
that you put together.
And those are the remnants. Let me take it a step further. Think about a mosaic mirror. You look at these mirrors, it's nothing but shattered glass and shards and small things that are just broken up and just set apart, that people just discarded because it didn't look like it had any beauty to it. But somebody in their infinite wisdom took everything that wasn't supposed to have beauty, put it together, and now you have this mosaic of different shapes, different colors, and different things put together to make something that makes a whole. Because just because you've been shattered doesn't mean that you can't be put back together and be made whole. Now, because you've been shattered, even though you might be put together, there's still going to be some spaces in there that God is still going to have to deal with, but you got to let God deal with it and still be able to move forward. Because even though you may still have those fragments, because that's the way God is going to show you from what you have been delivered from. Because even in the Bible, it says, by his stripes we were healed. So that means we have to have evidence of what we have gone through in order for us to be healed and also to be able to heal somebody else. So that's what you have to look at. And in that prayer, Jabez, don't take your pain for granted. Because in that pain, God is going to use you to be what he has really called you to be. Because if you look at your pain, you didn't stay in that situation as long as somebody else, because he couldn't leave you there that long. He just needed you to experience it. So then now you can go help somebody else get delivered that couldn't get out of it on their own. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Oh
Amen.
my gosh, she just preached the word. Well, to pass the plate, pass the plate, pass the plate, and that's the powerful thing. Because my original message was to talk about the pain, but like I said, when God took the whole sermon this morning and talked about the partnership, it then took me to the territory part of when I reread the scripture while I was sitting in church. It took me to the part of enlarge your coast, enlarge your territory. You know, because I'm reading both versions, so I'm like, okay,
Right,
Lord.
right.
I was trying to focus on Jabez's pain when you really want me to focus on enlarging the territory, meaning the partnership.
And I hadn't planned on talking about Jabez at all.
And you didn't. There wasn't even no way. You didn't even know what my inspirational corner was going to be.
Y'all, that wasn't even in the
She didn't
plan.
even know. So let's be real clear. This was all new to her when she walked in here. She had no idea what my inspirational corner was going to be. I'm telling you, I just was focused on the whole Jabez pain. Like through our pain, God births others. That was where I was going with that. But then when God sent me into the sermon this morning about that, he then had to shift it, because then he don't want me to keep talking about the pain right now. We already know you done been through the pain.
Right.
Now I need you to understand it's time for you to move into an enlargement.
Exactly.
And that means enlarging your territory, enlarging your coast, enlarging your area. In order for you to enlarge that area, we got to bring in partnership.
That's it. That's it.
I said, Jesus, you just, I mean, he just messed me up with that this morning. I'm telling you, he totally messed me up with that.
But you know what? And that's how God does it, because you were supposed to talk about the territory and I was here to talk about the pain. Because sometimes you got to have a tag team in order to get the message out. Because it doesn't matter.
She done dropped the mic again. She done dropped the mic about 3 times today. She done dropped the mic in here about 3 times today, y'all. Jesus. Oh my God. That's the word.
Because it doesn't matter how the message gets out, because I still look at, that's why he had to have 12 disciples, because everybody had a different voice.
Right.
Everybody had a different message. Some you heard loud, some you didn't hear at all.
Peter was the off the hook one. You know, you had
Peter,
the quiet
that was
ones.
My dude.
Right.
That's
You know, that's the thing. People don't understand. Each purpose of those 12 disciples, each disciple had a purpose that God needed. To get his ministry where it was going. Because at the end of the day,
you already knew you needed Paul and Silas to pray for you, because you already know the wall's going to fall. I'm just saying. So we have to start looking at how God uses us in a situation, because the situation may not be what we thought it was going to be, what we planned it to be, but we have to be ready to walk in it when it happens.
Wow.
And then be okay with how God changes the direction of something, because God had to deal with me on something else. Just because a door was open and it looks like you're supposed to walk in doesn't mean that you have to, because sometimes God got to show you you're going to get the opportunity. And I just want to show you that you're going to get it, but it's not time for you to walk in that door. And then y'all, and I got to leave y'all with one other thing, because I had to repent from this, and I know somebody else. If I had to repent for it, I know somebody else had to. Stop putting God in a box. Because for those of you, I said that I was a media coach, I said that I'm an author, and I said that I was a speaker. And let's just be real. When you are a speaker and a media coach, you make your money by people buying your book, hiring you to be their coach. I literally went to an event. I ain't have no money. I had to borrow money to get there. And I said, okay, God, look, this is how we got to do this. I know if I get 6 people to do this, 5 people to do this, and 3 people to do that, then I'm good. Walked into the event, it might have been 20 people there. And if it's 20 people there, you already know you are not making your quota. God said, I got you here, but I ain't tell you about that other stuff. So stop putting me in a box. You worried about 10 people giving you what you want, and I might have one person that's gonna bless you with all of what you need.
Facts. Oh my God.
And when that dropped in my whole spirit, baby, I lost it.
Girl, you should have been running.
Lost it.
Mm.
Because I'll say, oh my God, so how many of us are not making it and doing what we supposed to do? Because we putting God in a box.
Yeah.
We sitting up here analyzing the situation, which means we done analyze it. And y'all be real. If you know what's out there is not what you're supposed to get, you're not giving them 100%. You're gonna give them 5%. God said, mm-mm. And if you go up there and not give them what I told you to give them, your butt getting. I'm gonna beat your butt. And I said, I ain't trying to get that kind of whooping. And I had to literally tell the audience, I had to repent before I got up here. So let me tell you right now, I don't know what God getting ready to tell y'all through me, but we getting ready to do this thing. And and it's like God would, and then after I was obedient, then everything, the whole atmosphere shifted for me.
I know it did.
And I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna stop putting you in the box. I'm gonna stop questioning things. If it's for me,
because we want to come up with the answers, Deborah, and that's because you're a creative thinker.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you are, and I'm a creative thinker, and I did that years ago. I was one of them kind of people. God will give me something, and I would say, "But God, if we do it this way," one, I was trying to protect me,
right,
because I was trying to protect me, which was wrong. But at the time, I was just trying to do it a way that I thought was going to be best.
Exactly.
But when you end up doing it the way that He gives it to you, He gives you so much plus more. Exactly. And so, therefore, with you being obedient, He's giving you the plus more in that. No matter what. And I understand where you are. We're the kind of people, we sit back and we think about how we can let me think of it. God, you give it to me, and then I done thought of my answers instead of waiting for Him to give you the answers.
But that also goes to when you are an independent person.
Yeah, too.
And you
be interdependent.
And when you are used to doing things on your own, you don't have anybody else paying your bills. You don't have anybody else making decision for you. You are so used to being in control that now God is making you get in that place of you have no control. You're in that uncomfortable place. You are in that situation of where now you got to depend on God for real. You said you depended on God. You said that you believed in God, but you always knew, okay, I know I can work this out this way. I got this little account that I can go pull this from. I got this person that I can go pull this from. I got this I can go do and do this. But now God done made it to where you ain't got nothing to pull. You literally got to sit here and say, okay, God, I'm waiting on you. And you have to ask for help. And when I tell you that is the hardest thing that I have ever done in my life is ask for help. Me post something and say, hey, I need y'all to sow into my ministry. That's not me. I was on the air for a year and I paid for that with no advertising. And you know airtime ain't cheap.
I know that.
And it's like, how do you go from quote unquote having it to not having it, but then you know God done gave you a vision and open up something. God said, you're gonna do what's uncomfortable in order for me to bless you the way that I'm gonna bless you. I was like, Lord Jesus.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I was done. I was done on 9,000 levels. Do you hear what I say? 9,000.
Right here is this is the one. Like literally, I thought I was, when I got my salon, was something, but this walk, it was a whole different walk. It was a different kind of faith. I was in one space because that was some 20 some years ago when that happened, when I got the salon. But here, you had days to make a decision.
Right.
And you asking God, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to make a way.
Like yesterday.
Yeah.
And
he made the way, Deborah, like yesterday.
And that's it. And that's know what? And sometimes we have to be transparent enough with people because so many times people look at where we are and don't know the struggle.
They really don't.
And wait a minute, and don't know that you're still struggling. Let's just be real. Let's just be real honest. We ain't talking about a negative $5. We talking about, yo, I looked at my account one time and I still don't know how this happened. It was a negative $1,000 because I had paid so
Paid so
many
much
bills. And then I didn't realize that something didn't post when it was supposed to post. So it caused my account to do something really weird. All I could do was say, Lord, I thank you, the bank, for paying it. Because nothing got cut off and I was still driving and everything got done. But that's something real.
Real.
And you know, when you get into that kind of hole, yeah,
like my mother is one of them kind of people, Deborah, and you don't know. My mother is she's a fraud investigator.
Right.
So you know, you learn all the ins and outs of banking. And you, in her book, you don't bounce no checks.
Exactly.
None of that. Fraud, bank fraud, not just fraud investigator, but
Exactly.
she bank fraud. So you know it ain't none of that.
Right.
And I'm one of them kind of people, I'm real animate about the bank stuff. Like
exactly.
And when you find yourself, like, just like you said, a negative situation, and you try to go beat the thing, and then you realize you ain't got nothing this time.
It ain't nothing you could do.
Well, not like you.
Nothing.
Normally, you used to could run to this bank and transfer and move,
Baby,
and beat it before it even go negative, because you see it's about to happen. So you said, okay, I don't know what happened, where I went wrong in my calculation, because I'm a round up of $5. So I always make sure, round up in $5 versus it being, my girlfriend taught me $1. And then when I took this banking thing, the class.
See, y'all getting some information, y'all, for free.
Right. I did the roundup of $5. So I always keep my bank account with at least $5 in the account.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I did this one time. And you know how you, like I said, your mind was, oh, I can run and fix that before it even hit.
Mm-hmm.
And you went to this one, and this one had $1.59. You went to that account, and it had 28 cents. And you went to that, then you go to your online bank account, and that's going to take 2 days, a day and a half to get here.
Exactly.
And you trying to figure out how you can do that in a day and a half.
And then add travel into that. I wasn't even in town.
Oh, Jesus. See, that you got me beat on that one.
So, you know, when you make a mistake, like town, you on a whole nother level of panic. And it was like, okay, God, I know you got me. And lo and behold, a deposit did happen and everything was cleared up. But it was just the point that I was in that situation. And it was like, I didn't know which way to get out. And God said, right now, yo, I don't know who else is going through this. And because, you never go through anything by yourself.
For yourself.
Is that know that God has you, no matter what you're going through at this time. And it may seem like you right there on the cusp. And that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. Because all those situations, I call those distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to stay in your purpose. You got to stay in your plan, because when a distraction comes, that means people that are calling you out of the blue that you ain't heard from in 9,000 years, problems on your job, people saying stuff crazy to you, and you like,
really?
Like, where did it even come from? And who does that? Those are distractions. And don't let these distractions get you off of what God has showed you that you're supposed to do.
Purpose for you, because that's where people mess up, Deborah. They get off track by focusing on what someone said or did.
Exactly.
But honestly, that purpose of them saying what they said or did is really for God to use you in a different manner. But you got to be focused on that. That's where people mess up. They lose it because they get caught up on what the person said and did, and not on the fact that God is using them because of how you react, your response. All of those things play a role in whatever that person said or did.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. Give them all your information again, Deborah. Tell them give them one more time about the coach class, the media coach class, and all of that.
Okay, morning media coaching going to be on November the 11th in Silver Spring, Maryland. If you have any questions, please inbox me. You can inbox me on Facebook, Conversations Deborah Franklin, or even just Deborah Franklin. I am Deborah Franklin on all social media platforms, and you can basically just find us there. You and just reach out. We'll give you the information. We're going to post the links to everything for the books and for the media coaching class. And the media coaching class is not just for people that are in media, but you are invited. It is also for authors, speakers, women in ministry, because we're going to be giving how to promote yourself without breaking the bank or getting a publicist.
Awesome. So you guys, you heard it first here. she does have it on her platform. I think I did share it on mine. I know that I did share it with some people. Mainly, I shared it with other people first, and I think I did put it on my Facebook
Oh,
page
thank
as
you.
well, because I definitely wanted to promote the event for you, because I know that is very beneficial. Please tune in today at 2 o'clock for Diva Talk. We have our millennials handling the show again this week, and so we do miss Diva, and so we continue to wish her a speedy recovery. But she has the millennials taking care of her show while she's gone, and they have been doing a wonderful job. Tune into this week to all of our shows here on the platform. As you know, we have all different type of variety of shows all week long, and we want you to stay tuned in. Please feel free to go to our website. We have not posted it on Facebook yet, but you will hear it from me once again. Thursday night was the first saying, and I'm telling you again, we now have our sponsor links. So if you want to be a sponsor of the Worldwide Flavor Network, you can link your business to our website. And so go on our website, www.worldwideflavornetwork.com. Look at the sponsor links. You click on the link, it goes directly to your business, and that's more business opportunity for you. And that's what we want to do. We want to promote people business, not just be a sponsor but of Worldwide Flavor Network, but you can be linked to us by getting more business from us. I would love to have your business on our website, and it's just a small monthly fee. So feel free, tune in this week on my Facebook pages and all that kind of stuff, where I will be definitely, either I'm going to do a live about it or I'm just going to do a post. I haven't decided just yet, but we want you to come and be a part of the Worldwide team by being a sponsor of our station. We want as many sponsors up on that page. As you will see, we're starting across and we want to go down the side of the page. We just want to have sponsors all linked to there. And if you just pay your little monthly fee, you will be a blessing to the Worldwide Flavor Network, because the only thing we're going to do is just continue to enhance what we're doing. As you can see, from a year ago this time to what we're doing now, our platform has totally changed, and we are doing some great and wonderful things. And we just want to give you the best in not just music, as you know, we're 24 hours a day radio, but we just want to bring you the best in music, but we want to also bring you the best in our media and our streaming, and making sure that you get the best visuals that we can give here on our platform. So once again, thank you for tuning in on the Baltimore Flavor Gospel Show on today on the Worldwide Flavor Network. We want to thank Deborah Franklin for being our guest today. We are just so honored that she was able to be with us. And please go buy her book. Be a supporter of Deborah Franklin in her ministry and what she's doing in the media coaching business, as well as what she's doing in ministry as well. I thank you for being a part of the Worldwide Flavor Network, and I thank you for being a tune-in person to the Baltimore Flavor Gospel. I love you, but God loves you better than I ever could. Have a blessed and wonderful week.